Hey, Game and Outsider listeners. The whole crew is here to celebrate our 500th podcast episode, and we're excited to reminisce over the past several years about the show and what it's meant to us, as well as all of you. We'll also discuss the week's news, including Sony's decision to require a PSN account to play Helldivers 2 on PC. Finally, we've got some new games to chat about, including Sucker for Love, Date to Die For, and the Xbox port of Imagine Earth. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. We also have a community at facebook.com/groups/the GoCast, and even a Discord server. You can find a link for that in the notes for this very episode. It is Sunday, May 5th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, The Gaming Outsider. How's it going, everybody?
Hey, it's me, Zack, the first member of The Gaming Outsider, who is just the rest of us. So honored to be here with Scott Clark. A true celebrity.
Man. Oh, my goodness. That is Zack. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good.
As always.
Yeah.
Also joining us, Miss Alyssa White. Alyssa, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm glad to be back, though.
Yeah, we missed you
last week.
Yeah. And also joining us, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. How are you, sir?
Hola.
The guy who says, I only call him when I need something.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer.
Tell me it's not true. What'd you do today, Scott?
I didn't call you. I texted you and said I needed something.
Still, fine.
Semantics.
It's like, I need this from your collection. Sure.
Oh,
fine.
that's because I called in another favor this week. That's why. I had a package that needed a signature, and it wouldn't be delivered without a signature, and I asked you to take care of that for me, and you did.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, see, you only call me when you need things.
Did he commit fraud for you then? Did he say he was Scott Clark?
No, I called the company. They said it was fine as long as an adult was there. It didn't have to be me.
Yeah. Well,
So it's all good.
you wouldn't have counted anyway
I'm
then.
kind of an adult.
Guys, it is our 500th episode of The Gaming Outsider. I am beyond excited. When we started this thing years ago, when we rebooted this thing years after that, I never thought we'd make it to 500 episodes. And here we are. It is 500. I'm just kind of blown away. You guys, I know you guys haven't been here for the entire run, but you've been for at least like 2/3 of it, right?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Episode 50.
You don't have to keep reminding us. You could just say
Yeah,
we're here. That's
I'm
fine.
the baby of the group. I'm not sure how many I've been on, but not as much as you guys.
It still feels pretty awesome. So lots of things happening. We're just gonna have fun this episode. Like we don't have fun every episode. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it's gonna be great. We had a whole bunch of cool stuff that we wanted to do, and Scott just ran out of time and was not able to set it up. So here we are. We're still gonna do some awesome things. Let's start things off like we always do, reminding everybody about R2V2 happening on Saturday and Sunday, October 12th and 13th. Mark your calendars. Also, if you haven't already, mark your calendars for Saturday, July 27th. CB and I will be there for a 24-hour session where we're going to do some live streaming for Extra Life to raise some money for the kids at the hospital. So stay tuned for more details. But any and all listeners are welcome to join us. If you would like, bring a TV, bring a console, bring something comfy to sit in, and join us in gaming for 24 hours straight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I can't go 18 hours without some sleep, so it's going to be interesting to see how I can go 24.
Oh, you will. Otherwise, this big old bear paw is going to come out.
Oh my goodness! It's going to be like those. It's going to be like sleepovers back when you were a kid. The first one to fall asleep, like gets shaving cream on their face or in their
I always
hands.
hated stuff like that.
I mean, I do carry a Sharpie with me everywhere, Scott.
Do not put Sharpie on my face.
I'm so glad I had better friends. You know, none of this stuff
I mean,
ever
I
happened.
had pretty good friends, but at a sleepover, since we were all, it's all girls, and I remember one time.
Tell us more. Yeah.
Well, it was elementary school, okay?
Oh, well, never mind.
And we went to a Lutheran school. Anyway, I was the first one to fall asleep, and instead of, doing shaving cream, they put toothpaste on my face and hands. So then I woke up and I'm all, covered in toothpaste. It's gross, it's yucky, it's sticky, it won't come off. So, then I'm crying and they feel bad. So
whatever happened to the golden rule?
I know. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Now
Hey,
I would
man,
have, if it would have happened now, they would have got toothpaste back. But I was too nice, and people say I'm too nice now. I was too nice back then.
could have been worse. It could have been the good old hand in the bucket of hot water.
That's
Yeah,
that's what I
that's true.
remember being a thing at girls' sleepovers was getting their hand in
How many
hot
girls'
water.
sleepovers were you at?
No, not that I was there. That they would tell the stories of like, oh yeah, you put
Yeah,
this
that
girl's
never
hand in.
happened. That never happened with us. But for some reason, my friends decided to put toothpaste on me for some reason.
I mean, shaving cream is one thing that comes off quite easily.
Yeah, but toothpaste leaves it leaves like sticky residue.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. To give them the benefit of the doubt, how many elementary school kids, girls specifically, have access to shaving cream?
I mean, their dad was there,
Well, don't they
and
have
the bathroom had shaving cream in. I mean,
Yeah.
there was shaving cream in the bathroom because the dad shaved,
Both moms and dads
and
shave
yeah,
usually.
also the mother. Yeah, so there was shaving cream. They just decided to use toothpaste for some stupid reason.
I mean, elementary kids can sometimes be dumb.
I think we
Plus-
were in 5th grade.
kids are often just kind of dumb,
Yeah.
right?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
talk
not an elementary school teacher at all.
Let's talk about some of the games that we've been catching up on. CB, you've been gone for a while. Tell me what you've been catching up on.
Life, lots of life.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Did we ever mention that I had the flood in my basement on here?
I don't think we did.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So I had a pipe burst in my basement and a bunch of video game stuff got destroyed.
Yeah, that was a
Which is
bummer.
very sad.
So, but the light at the end of the tunnel, luckily, insurance is a good thing.
Mhm.
They're covering it. So I got a new PC out of all
Nice.
this too.
This one that you're on right now?
Nope. This is now predominantly my podcast laptop.
Ah, so you don't have to like carry it across the street every week
Yep.
to your mom's house.
Yep, to my podcast office. So now I have a gaming laptop.
Oh,
I-
I didn't even
I
think
can-
about that.
I can now play PC games, which is what I've been doing.
So now we
play.
can all play PC games. Oh,
I
wait.
know, it's amazing.
Well,
I finally upgraded.
Maybe not
Oh,
all of
wait.
us.
I was gonna say, no, there's
Zack
still
and-
there's still Zack.
Zach can still play Diablo 2.
Maybe.
on his MacBook.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know if
I gotta get this Steam
Ooh.
Deck. I'm gonna find a way.
if
Scott, what's your
Street
address
Fighter,
again?
man.
Yeah, right. It's sitting up there. We'll have to
So,
figure something out.
but yeah, I've been delving into the Steam world finally, and the first
Steam
two
World dig?
games. No,
I was gonna say, are you talking about the game Steam World or
no,
the
like
universe
Steam,
of
the
Steam?
platform.
Ah.
The what?
I finally have a PC that can do that kind of thing.
Did you have an account before? Like, do you have a library there waiting for you that you can just download some stuff?
Oh, awesome.
'Cause-
Yeah, I did. And you want to know what the last game I downloaded on Steam was?
What's that?
Half-Life 2.
Okay.
When it was new.
Wait, that's how long it's been since you've had a Steam account, or like you've used your Steam
Since
account?
I've used a Steam account, yeah.
Holy cow, dude!
Basically, Steam got used until World of Warcraft came out, and then it was World of Warcraft,
Ah,
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
that PC died, and then I was like, well, I don't play PC games anymore.
gotcha.
So I downloaded Ship Graveyard Simulator.
What?
I
That
didn't
was the
realize that was a thing.
Dude,
Like,
it
Of all the games on Steam, and that's like what made. I mean, I'm not knocking
was
the game.
$2.99.
Okay, I'm not knocking the game. I've never played it. I don't know what it is, but I just like.
So you essentially run a demolition company and you tear apart big ships. So you actually get to walk around on these ships and like pull stuff off of them and go sell them in a shop.
All right.
So it's fun, but that one is more like, ooh, I only have like 10-15 minutes to play. I can kill some time. The other game I downloaded, Fallout 4.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I delved back into the wasteland.
Now you've got it. We're just gonna have the update that just came out, I assume, right? Or did it already? Or was it already available on PC? And the update just came to console.
I think it was already available. I downloaded. I just started playing. Killed Preston Garvey immediately.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I don't need to hear that trash in my life. There's another settlement being. I don't care.
So how much does it look? How much better does it look on PC? Yeah?
Chef's kiss, man.
Yeah?
It looks gorgeous.
How could a Bethesda game look gorgeous?
Because that one actually does.
Hmm.
I
It's hard to believe.
I enjoy it, man. Starfield looked gorgeous.
Hmm.
Shut your mouth.
I
Some
know.
parts did.
You know I'm not a graphics guy.
I
It just
play
seems-
Blatro. Look at these.
Oh, see,
pixels.
that is gorgeous. You see those chip numbers go up. You're like,
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
oh, you're beautiful.
Well, I'm so my new laptop has a 4060 GTX in it. For a processor, for a graphics card. So I was just like, I want to see, like, I'm working my way up because I don't want to sit here and just like nuclear melt this thing down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to. I forgot how hot laptops get.
Okay.
I scorched my leg.
Wait, were you wearing shorts?
No,
It was that hot.
I was wearing pants. I'm sitting here like, dude. I'm like, God, is anybody else in this house warm? And I like sitting here. I was like, yeah. I switched to shorts, put the laptop back down. I'm like, holy hell.
Oh, so it wasn't like you had it sitting on the table and then put it on your lap. It was like,
I was wearing like
frog in a
flannel,
cold
like,
pan of water
he's
kind of
frog
thing.
in
And
water, yeah.
Yeah.
but I was wearing flannel pants and everything, and just sitting in my basement playing. And I'm like, man, it's really warm down here. Switched to shorts and everything. Put the laptop right back down on my lap, and oh, that was a mistake.
Oh man.
So I luckily I have one of those like little thermal thermometer, like the thermometers that you just point at things
Yeah.
Oh,
I
oh,
know
that
what
everybody
you're
was like
saying, yeah.
using during COVID.
Yeah, point at your forehead to get your temperature.
Like 140 degrees.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that thing was putting out some heat.
Is there a concern for that? I mean, that sounds
No,
unsafe.
that's like right in the temperature range for this thing.
Okay,
It
I
has
don't know.
5 fans on the back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's 3 on the bottom side and then 2. I'm like, it's a hefty laptop and it's metal.
Oh, plus that if
Crazy.
it cooks your boys, you could probably sue them.
Hey, I mean,
Uh,
luckily I don't need those for those kind of purposes anymore. So
I will say, CB, I actually downloaded Fallout 4 on Xbox with the intention of diving back in. Obviously, I haven't. But, because we talked about this in our spoiler cast, I was getting the itch to get back into the wasteland a little bit. How good did it feel to get back in there?
it's it's like coming home to like just a best friend. Like,
Yeah.
you're like coming home from school, your best friend's just sitting right there on the porch, just waiting, like, it's time to play. Yes.
I like it. See, I played through Fallout 3 multiple times because I did, I got all the achievements in that game, and you had to play through like as a good character and as a bad character and whatever, and get all the bobbleheads. So I scoured that game plenty. I've only gone through Fallout 4 once, and I didn't do everything like I did in Fallout 3. So I feel like going back to Fallout 4 would feel like somewhat of a fresh experience to me. So
Do it, because especially with like Far Harbor, like I'm just trying to get to the point where I can go back to Far Harbor, because that is hands down one of my favorite expansions they ever did.
I don't even remember. I actually bought the, whatever $80 version at the time was that came with all the season passes and stuff, and I never touched any of it.
Dude, you are missing out.
Yeah.
Like, Far Harbor and Nuka World are amazing.
I love Nuka. There was a Nuka-Cola factory. I can't remember if it was in 3 or 4, but there was like a robot that uses the the voice all the time, and then but like the way too happy you are at the Nuka-Cola power plant, and they
The
say,
Sunset Sarsaparilla one too.
and then there was like a break where they're like he's talking like that, but then there's like one sentence that's out, and it's just a pre-recorded voice going, San Antonio, Texas, or whatever. And then it goes back to, and we're so glad that you're here at Nuka World. It was just, that cracked me up. Anyway.
I'm halfway through the show now, guys, so
Oh, yeah?
making progress.
You still enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I can tell I'm having that when you're watching something that's so popular, like what is everyone freaking out about feeling, you know what I mean? Which isn't fair
Yeah.
to the show. So I'm trying to adjust my brain accordingly. So that's happening.
You got to remember, a lot of people that are digging it didn't watch the show and a lot of people that are falling into the hype of the show have never seen Walton Goggins in anything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
So this is their first time seeing Walton Goggins, and
He is a
he's pretty
revelation when
phenomenal.
you first
Yeah.
encounter his work. There's no doubt.
Mhm. And I think that a lot of the gamers are like, they actually got the tone of the games.
Yeah, I mean it is
Yeah.
cool when like they look at the Pip Boy and it's just a map from the game or whatever.
Yep.
That is nice to see a adaptation be respectful. Pour one out for the Halo fans, of course.
Yeah. Oh, they got done dirty.
No, it is a really good show. I can feel that in my head where I'm like, this is why are people going gaga over this? But that's not fair.
Well, it's also, you got to remember some people like watched it that day, like CB, so they've seen the entire thing, and it actually it's satisfying. It has a satisfying conclusion as well, which a
Right.
lot of shows like this don't. So it had a lot of good things going for it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing that is mind blowing. It just got my juices flowing.
Yeah.
Again.
I did
when
find
heard
it funny because I don't like Maximus. I assume he has an arc because he's just kind of a dweeb. But I was like, it was funny. He's not even episode 4 at all. And I was like, wow, the character's so essential that he's not even in one episode of the first season.
Good point.
Yeah.
I have thoughts about Maximus, but you'll have to wait for the spoiler cast.
Well, I am intrigued.
Alyssa, how about you? What have you been catching up on?
Still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Plugging away? How far are you now? What's your
Uh,
location?
I'm in chapter 11 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting closer.
Getting closer.
It's a big game.
Which I did skip last week playing it because I was playing another game that I reviewed.
Gotcha.
So I'm a week behind, but
No
I am
worries.
still playing. I'm still playing it, still loving it. Getting further in Queen's Blood, which I'm surprised I enjoy it as much as I do.
So am I, actually.
Yeah.
You surprised that she enjoys it?
Yeah. She doesn't like puzzle games, and I feel like that's more.
Well, I did look online to see what the optimum card.
Oh, okay.
But still, like, I will like restart a match if I'm losing because I know the random number generator will eventually go in my favor.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm still enjoying it though. Doing all of the side quests, but I'm not really doing a lot of the towers and life springs and stuff anymore because I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, there's just too much of it.
Yeah, there's too many. But I have been getting lost lately. In the Gungaga and Cosmo Canyon regions, especially, I have had to YouTube like where to go because I'm like, how do I get to the location?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how was I supposed to figure that out? Like after watching the video.
Yeah,
Gungaga was definitely tough to navigate.
I appreciate the change of pace, but it's really hard to do
Yeah.
like side quests and stuff there because it's just kind of frustrating.
I did have to YouTube how to get to places.
Yeah.
Not like how to do it, just how to get there because I'm like, I can't figure out how I'm supposed to get here.
Yeah. Zack,
how about you? What have you been catching up on?
Yeah, I've been playing with my Korean Barbie doll in Stellar Blade, dressing her up, changing her hair. No, but the game, it just it gets better and better. The combat opens up a lot more. I'm on the final boss right now.
Oh wow!
So it's a pretty appreciable length. Whilst the main story is still boring as hell, and as are many of our lead characters, some of the side quests are pretty interesting. They tend to follow, surprisingly, the Nier mold, where they all turn out to be pretty depressing. But some of them aren't. But you meet more interesting characters there, and some fun little short stories along the way. So that's been really fun. A lot of really interesting exploration in those kind of open environments that I was talking about last week. There's just so many little nooks and crannies hidden away, and it is a fun reward to get yourself a nice new little outfit, or some new earrings. It's fun, and the back half of the game leans a lot more on platforming as well. So it really is like just some like Tomb Raider or Prince of Persia mixed into this kind of hardcore action game. It's a lot of fun, and
that sounds like music to my ears, actually.
Yeah, it gets really really good, and the last strings of boss fights have been just excellent. There's one boss that feels like a step right out of Bloodborne, so that was a ton of fun.
Cool.
But there's one boss that actually like took me probably like 8 or 10 tries, which is nice because this game is definitely not as hard as a FromSoft game. So been beating most of the bosses in the first or second try. So it was nice. It was
Right.
nice having to like actually strategize and think. And they kind of, a lot of the bosses towards the end kind of nullify some of your strategies. So you kind of have to adjust what you're doing. It's just really, it really comes together very well. And it's nice, it's always nice to play a game that gets better as you go along.
Right.
Still don't care about any. There is one character, your little sidekick lady, Lily, your tech gal. She has become a compelling and interesting character by the end of it. But I still don't care about Eve. Like Eve could get shot in the head in the next cutscene, and I don't think I would be affected at all. Other than like, oh no, my Barbie. But
Oh no, the pretty.
yeah.
What am I going to do with my wardrobe now?
Right? Yes, I got all these outfits for nothing. Dude, some of these outfits are a little outrageous. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And it is funny if you like put on a skirt, you really notice like, oh man, every cutscene is finding a way to show you her butt.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to me, like in the Korean world, because when you watch a movie or TV show, they're so modest. So to hear that in the game, I'm like, that doesn't line up.
They're letting themselves loose here in Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Well, Korean video games apparently are like Japanese anime.
Oh yeah. Yeah, true.
I don't know how often is Pinocchio naked in Lies of P. I wonder. I gotta play it to find out. Yeah, but there was a really good boss fight. No spoilers, of course. That played this really banging K-pop track that made me think of you, Alyssa. I almost sent it to you.
Oh yeah.
It was a total.
I wish you would have.
It was like I was kind of when I died. I was like, I'm kind of a little happy because I get to listen to the song again.
Now I'm like, what's the song? Because now I want to jam out.
All right, I'll have to send it to you. It's very unexpected boss battle music. But yeah. So no, it's a very good game as long as my brain eventually just turned off for the story. The story is just frustrating because of what a focus it is.
Mm-hmm.
So for it to be such a big part of it, and you're like, none of this is exciting. There's like one interesting idea, and then nobody explores it at all. I'm like, well, that's kind of why it's almost weird to bring it up at all.
Right.
But otherwise, like it's just weird to play a game that has so many cutscenes and you don't care about any of them.
At least it's fun to play.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's an important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a story guy first, so it's definitely disappointing in that regard. Mm-hmm. But it is just so much fun to play that it's hard to get. Once they really started putting in like platforming puzzles, they're like, bro, this game's cooking, as the kids say.
Do they still say that?
Do that? I don't know.
I'm surprised there's not a new catchphrase. There probably is, and we're just not aware of it.
It's hard to keep up. Everything changed. Everything moves so fast here in this modern world.
I know.
Lit AF.
No, dude, that's old now.
Yeah.
Now the new one.
I know.
Outdated.
I'm really old.
The new one is Bet.
Well, that was.
Bet's been around for a while.
Yeah, Bet's been around for a while.
Well, maybe it's cycled back, right? Because that was a big thing when I was younger.
They do cycle
Seriously?
back.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's Bet. Or like, we're gonna do this. Oh, Bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been around.
Really?
Well, but
I've never heard.
It's cyclical. These things are cyclical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like when kids are saying, "Oh, that's fire," I'm like, "Yes, I remember that in middle school as well."
Yeah.
But it was coming back, so it's funny because I think trends used to shift and be gone forever, but maybe it's just because everything's so accelerated now that everything has to circle back.
Well, or they just become more outlandish, like bell-bottom jeans to Janko jeans.
Right.
That's cap.
I'm seeing some young people with mullets out there. Now I am.
Dude, mullets are coming back.
Okay, so it's not just I was like maybe it's just Oregon because it's weird out here.
No, they're here too, but this is also the South. So.
I was gonna say, Alyssa, where you are, I would imagine that
they never left where you are.
Yeah,
that's true.
Alyssa, you don't have to play with your hair. We're not saying you have a mullet, okay?
No, people have told me it looks like I have a mullet, so now I'm like, I gotta fix the hair. People can't see this, but
you got hair on the sides. You got to shave that down. Go for the coif up top.
Yeah,
they're like, "Are you trying to go for a mullet look?" I'm like, "No. Why do you think I have a mullet?"
Yeah.
Now I'm offended.
It's horrifying.
Not you guys, other people.
Not to sound old, but it is horrifying seeing these kids with mullets and rat tails and stuff. I'm like, what is going on?
that was a big thing when I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rat tail is definitely back.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Gross.
But come on, there's nothing better than a good Kentucky waterfall.
Oh my god! I'm just gonna start just shaving kids in the street. Just bring a razor around.
Oh yeah.
That's not creepy at all.
That's not creepy. I'm doing them a favor. That's what I'll say to the judge.
Hold still,
Yeah.
kid.
Well, it's like it's like a drive-by where I just walk by and do like a quick strip off the back and
So they have to do the rest on their own.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I went back to the well this week. Man, I think it was last year sometime. I bought the Metal Gear Solid collection on
Mhm.
Xbox that came with Metal Gear Solid and 2 and 3, and then some of the other stuff that like even the original
Mhm.
Metal Gear and Snake's Revenge and stuff is on there.
Yeah, of course.
And I loved the original Metal Gear Solid at release so much, and I was like really stoked to get back in here and do that. Uh, that
However,
game has not aged well for me, and I'm
mm,
not talking about graphically. I don't care what it looks like. That I was expecting that. I do not have the patience for this kind of game anymore, man. Like I just,
well, that's not the
and I
game aging poorly. That's you aging poorly.
possibly. I knew as soon as I said something negative about Metal Gear Solid. I see your tweets, man. I see your tweets. I know it. I knew I was gonna get lambasted for you, but dude,
The MGS tingles for Zach. It's
Well,
like,
it's
oh.
more. It's more
it's
of.
like
I feel like I tweet often about how games don't age poorly. It's your fault. But
that's
yeah,
what I was
yeah.
referring to. Yes, but I mean, a stealth game where I'm supposed to see where the other enemies are, and I can't spin the camera at all in any direction to see where this character is.
But
That's what the radar's for.
yeah, say the vision
It-
cones are on the radar.
the vision cones are on the radar, but that basically means you have to walk blindly. Like I'm basically walking on the radar instead of walking, seeing where I'm going.
I
You know what I
understand.
mean?
Yeah.
It's just adjustment. I'm gonna go back into it and give it another shot because man, I kind of missed hearing the banter back and forth between him and is it Meryl
Yeah.
or who's the one that who's the one that he flirts with at the beginning? I never thought
Is it
an agent would be so cute.
Mei Ling?
Maybe she's like totally into it.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like,
Well, dude, all the chicks are into because he's like famous, right? She's like, oh, I'm getting hit on by the famous Solid Snake.
it's
Yeah.
it's interesting, but yeah, and then I died once, and it was like Snake.
Or maybe Naomi. Is that who's
I think it was
yeah, like
Naomi.
the
Yeah.
Dr. Naomi Hunter. No,
But
I think it's just a different era of games where they kind of expected a little more out of the player, right?
right.
Like there would be no yellow paint in a PS1 game.
Yeah,
they
That's true.
yeah, they kind of expected you to fail and learn. So you're right, it is different sensibilities. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
it aged poorly though.
And I've man,
I'm with Zach on this one because
have you played it? I want you to go back.
Well, hold
and play
on. It's pretty rare that this is happening. I think we got to let it ride out here. CV being on my
no,
side.
because I've actually been debating on like getting into some of the old PS1 games again, and I mean Metal Gear is always going to be like top tier.
Uh-huh.
Now,
I mean, I've been playing some JRPGs, but it's been a long time since I've touched an action or a stealth game.
Mm-hmm.
So now I may just have to pop that one in.
they don't really
Yeah.
make straight up stealth games anymore.
Not
It's
really.
always an option, but it's never like a focus. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Stealth is optional for this mission. Guns blazing.
Right. Now, I will say, Scott, it is quite an adjustment going back to Metal Gear Solid, and you can't move when you're crouched.
Right.
Yeah, that is.
It's like you crouch and then you can just army crawl.
Yeah.
But
and
that's
the menus being on the shoulder buttons was always bad, even back then. To like
I
equip
don't
your
remember
guns
that.
and items.
Is that on the collection? I don't feel like that was
That was on the
way.
PS1.
Yes, maybe they did adjust for the collection. I don't remember.
Which brings up an interesting point because there's some things that I'm like, how are they going to do in this game? Like, there's no memory card to swap anymore. How am I going to?
You have a hard drive.
Right, but I can't swap out a hard drive.
I think I saw where they explain how it does, and
Plays
it
out.
kind of, well, I mean, it kind of ruins the fun.
Okay, don't tell me then. I want to kind of
Yeah.
get to it, and because I would like to go through, because that was such an awesome video game memory from my life. Playing the first time I played through that, and I would kind of like to experience it. Plus, I want to go through and do 2, and I've never played 3. I've
What?
finished 2, but
What?
I've never played 3.
Oh my god!
It's so good.
To be fair, he's not the only one. I never
What's
played
going
3.
on?
So we're gonna
Only half of us have played 3.
break the seal.
I mean,
Sure.
2, 3. Three.
'Cause I
It's
played
like
one-
3's at the top of the pile, and then there's the rest of the Metal Gear Solid series. But 3 is
Yeah,
like
3,
it's a whole
3 is
other level.
excellent.
Yeah,
That's
I
funny.
played 1, 2. I immediately I started playing 4, stopped, played Ground Zero, threw it out the window,
Yeah, I didn't like
And then
Ground
played-
Zeroes.
Is it because it was so
Played
good
5.
you knew you didn't deserve to play it? Is that why you
No,
had to
because
throw
you
out the
could beat
window?
it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30
Like, this is
excellent, 30
dumb.
excellent minutes.
No, that was garbage for paying $40.
Dude.
I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah, well, when every minute is worth $1, it's so good, CV. What are you supposed to do?
Ugh, barf.
Well, if it's 30 minutes and it's $40, then it's more than $1 a minute.
And
Ugh.
yet, I didn't feel ripped off at all.
I did.
No,
That game was like
the ground
$2 in like a week. That's what's funny.
so
Yeah.
the Ground Zeroes thing was BS. There's no doubt about it.
Hmm.
I really love Ground Zeroes. A lot of fun, but it was a pretty inexcusable thing they did.
It should have been a demo. It should have been
Right.
like a
Yeah.
It would have been, 5 years before.
playable teaser.
Or just, put it in with 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Well,
it is
that's what it was.
it is an essential prologue. Like the beginning of 5 is not going to
Yeah.
make a lot of sense without it.
Exactly. The other thing I played is I went on we had a field trip at school on Friday, and I knew if I brought my Steam Deck on a bus for an hour and a half trip to Milwaukee, I was not going to be able to concentrate on Sands of Time, and I did not want with 60 kids on a bus
Mhm.
trying to focus on the game. I knew it was going to happen, so I needed something. So I had the Mario All Stars thing installed, and I played some Mario 64. It's been a while since I played Mario 64, and let me tell you,
It aged
You-
poorly. Let me tell. Is that what you're going to say?
no, that game ages gracefully. That game ages great. But I've never been so frustrated playing a video game in my entire life as I was sitting in the back seat of a bus on the interstate trying to play a platformer. Like, brrr, brrr.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
So your decks just, or your switches just
It
flying
was-
all over the place.
it was rough, man.
So it's
It
hard.
was
You're
rough.
playing-
Super Mario 64 aged well on the proper platform, because playing it with that original N64 controller it did not age well.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
64 controller's great.
I thought the
No.
controls. It was Sunshine that did not do. That did
No,
not.
because I remember you playing 64 and you getting used to it. You were like, "Oh God, this is weird."
Oh, it's because they to reposition the camera. Was it on the Z button?
On
I
the
don't
C.
remember.
It was like the C buttons.
I don't remember. They do it right on the Switch version. It's where it should be. But and I did also put some time into Sands of Time. I'm about 85% of the way through that game. I'm in like the second to last chapter. So
Oh yeah, I was going to say how you know, but the save files tell you.
yeah, I should have that finished this week, Zach. So how's Lone Ranger coming?
Well, you're not going to be here next week, so I guess I got plenty of time.
I could be there next week at night. Just saying,
Yeah.
like after the podcast recording. But anyway, that was a long segment to talk about what we've been catching up on.
Oh, we're having
let's-
Scott 500 episodes. Okay, we're allowed to have some fun.
Yeah.
We are allowed to have some fun, but let's have some fun over in the news. What do you say?
Sure. Why did he wait so long?
I was thinking about it.
Before we get into the news, I need to talk to you guys a little bit about Yetee t-shirts. Yetee. They are an awesome company. They're right on here, right around us in Chicago. They make great screen printed t-shirts. I know a lot of people make t-shirts that are like the ones I make, where it's just vinyl kind of heat printed on it. No, these are actual screen printed t-shirts, and they make awesome video game designs. And the owner has graciously offered us a free t-shirt to give away to you guys in the community. So if you check out the show notes for this episode, there is a link in there for a free t-shirt. It is a Mega Man themed t-shirt that's called Proto Man or Proto. It has Proto Man on it. I can't remember the name of it, but these shirts are awesome. Highly recommend them, and check out Yetee, Yetee. They are great, and we are looking forward to partnering with them in the future. But let's go ahead and jump into the new trailers this week. Jackbox Naughty Pack coming in 2024. I guess people have been asking for that. Funko Fusion on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, September 13th. Earth Defense Force 6. I haven't played 2 through 5, I don't think.
Well, I'm sure there's
sadly.
a lot of mystery they lay into the
Yeah,
middle
right.
games.
Yeah.
PlayStation and PC on July 25th, and Batman Arkham Survivor coming exclusively to MetaQuest 3 later this year. The big news topics this week: Helldivers 2 will soon require a PlayStation Network account to be able to play. There is an ESRB rating for Nintendo World Championships NES Edition that popped up online this week. Let's see. Limited Run Games got into some hot water in regards to some of their physical releases this week. And that's about it. CB, you've been gone for quite a while. What story would you like to talk about?
Limited Run and how they can suck it.
You want to clue everybody in on this? Because I
So
was kind of baffled by this, honestly.
So Limited Run Games has been started doing some more retro stuff, and one of them is a 3DO game called D the Collector's Edition.
I have never even heard of this game.
I have it if you ever want to play it. A real version, not this crap that they're trying to pawn off.
You got the D for me?
Always. I won't charge you $60 for it either.
Wow.
Again.
It's free for friends.
Yeah. Always handing it out. So when this game was pressed by Limited Run, a company that cares about their consumers, people were like, "Hey, why does this disc look like crap? And why is it not playing in my system?" Well, it turns out that a bunch of the games that they had pressed were done on good old CDR discs that you could buy from Walmart.
Dude, it turns out they still make CDRs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Surprisingly, they are not cheap either.
What is the difference? Because I know this is something that people that used to pirate games used to do back in the day, is they would, download a thing and then burn it to a CDR and put it in their Dreamcast or their 3DO or whatever.
But that's kind of where a lot of people are mad about this, is like, hey, I just paid you $60 for something I could have done at home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
I'm trying to buy it
crap.
legitimately, and you're basically selling me a pirated. Well, I mean, they have the license to do it, right?
Yeah, like they got the license to do this game and everything, and it's turned into this huge debacle. Like you have to read the article, but they're like, oh yeah, we use one of the best companies in the United States to do this, and like this is what they gave us. Like I'm seeing more and more people getting frustrated with Limited Run Games because they do seem to be clipping some corners. I have not bought a Limited Run game now in a couple of years.
What, you haven't bought one, or you haven't received one? Because I've heard that was another problem.
There's still one game that I have that's floating that I've never received.
How long ago did you order it?
4 years ago.
Ooh.
Yep.
What did you? Am I okay?
I don't even remember anymore. I'd have to go through my account and look it up.
Like was it an expensive one, or like a standard like $60, $70 game?
It was like $60.
Okay.
But yeah, they've openly said like, oh well, it worked in all of our systems, lest they forget that the 3DO had different variations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So because there's the FC1, the FC10, and the Gold Star. Those are the three that are common.
I legitimately don't understand the difference, like between a burned disc and a pressed disc. Like I don't understand physically what that means. What's a pressing? Like you press a vinyl disc, right?
Well, a pressing is essentially just burning it to a CD. Like that's the term they use. Like, yes, we pressed this disc, like stamped the thing on top of it and everything.
Okay, so what's the difference then between what they're doing and pressing it?
To be fair, not much. It depends. It's all about quality. Like if you use a CDR, you can pick it up. You can feel like it doesn't feel good quality.
Okay,
like
so if
you pick up a PlayStation 1 disc, like that good old black disc that they made, like you can tell it's got some extra heft to it. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel flimsy.
Okay, so it's just the quality of the plastic itself.
Quality and how long it's gonna stay on, like usable on your shelf.
Okay. I thought it was something different about the way that it was recorded onto the disc, but it sounds like it's very similar.
There is that too. So part of the reason it's cheap for a CDR is it's recorded in there differently. Like if you scratch a CDR, toast.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you scratch like a PS1 disc, like those of us who owned PS1s back in the day, remember like you'd set that disc down and it'd get scuffed up and look like crap. It'd still play.
Yep. Or the people that put up like 2 CDs in one case, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I know.
But the problem is when you get to those cheaper discs, the laser won't read them right, depending on which version you had. So that's where some of these people are having issues. Is they're like, well, it's not playing in my 3DO, so the disc is not able to be read in that version. I can't remember which version it is. I remember somebody said it was like the Gold Stars, which are like the creme de la creme of the 3DOs.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, okay, well, we're not going to press any more of these until we figure out the issue. Yes, here's the thing: stop using cheap crap.
Yeah, that's
And
the thing is like when I think limited run, I'm kind of because I feel like some of those games have been a lot more expensive. I know I got you. Didn't I get you a limited run from like of the Lion King or something from back in the day? That came in like or was it limited run?
That was the limited run one, but the problem I'm having with limited run is they're doing repressings of things that they've already done. Like, oh, we're only making 3,000 copies of this. That's it. It's never going to get made again. And then 2 years later, they're like, we did it again. We made more.
Right.
So
I don't have a problem with that as much as I do like you're spending a little bit higher price for something.
when you're charging a premium for something that like we're making 3,000 of these, that's it. We're not making any more.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
Mhm.
surprise, we're making another 7,000. And before you guys paid $70 for these, this batch we're only charging 50.
Oh, see, if it were the other way around, I would have less of a problem with it, I think.
There's or the fact that they made a bunch of these, but then it turns out that they actually made more than they initially said they did,
Mm.
and they're selling them in their physical store.
I gotcha.
Because there's a few games that I wanted to get when they first started pressing this, like, oh yep, we ran out, we don't have any more. But there's people that went into their pop-up shop and they're like, oh look, there's 50 copies of it right here.
Mm-hmm. Creating
So-
scarcity.
Yeah. So I'm done with that company. So every time I see them like screwing up for something crappy that they're doing to their consumers, I'm just like,
Well, if
this
it's
is why I
not
don't buy from you
working,
anymore.
if it's not working on your original hardware, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's and that sounds like they are rectifying it. They are going to get the proper things back to the right people. So
They-
good on them for doing that. But this shouldn't have
They
been.
said that they're going to try and correct the issue, but until then, they're not going to make any more. More than likely, this is going to be another case of it's just going to sit on the back burner for a couple of years until people forget about it, and then they're
Right.
just going to cancel it.
Right. All right.
I mean,
Alyssa.
imagine waiting more than a year to get your game and then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
I-
I don't know. It is a difficult company to defend. I don't know how anybody has any.
It hurts my soul
Yeah.
over the fact that they made a new pressing of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, and I refuse to buy it because I will not support this company.
Right. Yeah. It's very frustrating. I don't understand why they still put out like 3 or 4 new games up for pre-order every week when they're obviously their pressing's backlog is so substantial that it takes you over a year to get an order.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't they, calm down
Expand.
to catch up? Like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It feels inexcusable.
Well, they got to keep making money, man.
I mean,
Or-
but
or
the way
just
they
like-
make money is basically like just taking a loan from their customers interest free, right? Because they don't even have to pay you back for a year later.
What if they just
Like, it's
didn't
just not-
charge your credit card until it shipped?
Well, then they wouldn't be alive, right?
Right? Yeah.
Well, I also just hate the fact that the quality has gone down because some of their
Yeah.
collector's editions, they're like, oh, look at this acrylic standee that we made. And I'm like, you cut a piece of plexiglass and screen printed onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like some of their earlier stuff, like they're like, we made this brand new action figure from scratch and put it in this box, or this beautiful statue. And now it's just like, we make acrylic standees and buttons and stickers.
I mean, with
Well,
the
not only that,
with the consistent horror stories I've heard about their collector's editions for years, I don't know why anybody buys any of them anymore.
Yeah, I stopped.
Yeah.
Like that was the problem. Is like as the price kept going up and the value kept going down.
Is it just because the majority of their customers never open the items.
Yeah.
So maybe
Probably.
so therefore, like you hear the horror stories from such a small user base because these are the people who are actually opening this stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
see it
really
all the
good
time.
point.
Like people are like, oh yeah, like I've got this brand new sealed collector's edition. I'm like, yeah, but have you opened it? Like there's crap in literal crap in there.
Wait,
And like, no, it's
They put a
like
turd in there.
I'm never gonna open. I wouldn't put it past them.
wait. When you say literal crap,
Yeah.
like
It's stuff that if I was handed at a game convention, I would probably throw it in the trash.
right, but that's not literal crap.
To me, it is.
Well, that's not how literal works.
It is.
Unless that came out of your butthole.
It came out of theirs.
All right, well, let's move on. Alyssa, what story would you like to talk about?
We'll talk about Helldivers 2 will soon require a PSN account to be able to play.
This story, guys.
Oh
Yeah.
man! Oh, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say on this.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Well, there's a quote from SIE Steam that goes, current players on Steam will start to see the mandatory login from May 30th and will be required to have linked a Steam and PlayStation Network account by June 4th. The post continue. We'll just cut that out.
All right.
At least existing Helldivers 2 players will have quite a while to prepare for the change in account linking. But if you want to hit the ground running, head over to this link to get started now. This is all under the promise of values of safety and security provided by PlayStation itself.
Can we stop right there for just one
Mhm.
second?
Sure.
I want to address that elephant in the room. So there,
I was going to say the company that can't protect passwords.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? I mean, I know,
Passwords, logins, like personal information that's been hacked multiple times.
and again, to be clear, this is not me Sony bashing, but I had my account compromised from Sony years ago. Remember
you
when
weren't
they
the
gave?
only one.
Remember when they
Oh,
gave
yeah.
us like a free copy of Infamous and Little Big
Yeah,
Planet?
that was
and
13 years ago.
13 years ago.
I
And it was a
say
huge
that-
data breach,
yeah.
and it happened another time since then. But this is under the values of safety and security provided by PlayStation itself? You've got to be kidding me.
Well, it's also
This-
a direct insult to Steam because you're implying that Steam doesn't have security measures.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
This
this
is
story gets
starting-
worse, though. I didn't
Well,
mean to cut you
oh,
off,
yeah.
Alyssa.
Do you want me to continue the
Yeah,
story?
go for it.
Okay. Not all regions have access to the PlayStation Network, and it's even banned in some areas. And then they continue to quote, if a better solution isn't provided for players who are in regions without PSN coverage, I'm assured that we won't be making the requirement mandatory for those players. Essentially, the studio won't force players to either break Sony TOS or not play the game. Arrowhead said that this was Sony's decision, not theirs, and right on cue, people have started review bombing the game.
So just to recap, Arrowhead makes this game that is exclusive to PC and PlayStation. Everybody's playing it, loving it. People are talking potential game of the year contender, right? Sold it, love it. Sony suddenly says, all right, now if you want to play it, you have to have a PlayStation Network account. If you live in a country where PlayStation Network is not allowed, sorry, you're out of luck. They're going to say all this fluff like we're not going to require them.
Yeah.
How is that fair? How is that fair?
Also, why do I believe you?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why do I believe you? Why would you sell a game that is going to basically not be able to be played by these people anymore because of this change? This whole thing makes me blows my mind and gets me borderline angry.
The company that fought tooth and nail. You can't buy that studio. You're taking things away from us.
Yep.
Well, guess what? Now we're going to try to take things away from your studio.
I just can't imagine because this is, granted, this is a budget title, right? $40-$50,
40,
I think.
yeah. Mhm.
$40.
Mhm.
You buy a game, you get all this time in it, and then you're just no longer allowed to play it because you don't have the ability to log into the correct network in order to play online with your friends because this is an online-only game.
Mm-hmm.
Is just one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying it because of the Twitter comments and everything. I read this story and thought I was reading it wrong. Like I could not believe that this is a real thing.
Now,
And-
a quick point. The requirement is on the Steam page that you'll have to link a PSN account eventually.
Mhm.
And it was supposed to be there at the start, but they said they had to delay it for technical issues having to do with crossplay. But to your point, you can't sell it to the countries that don't have PSN then.
That's what should have
Yeah.
been the thing. That's the thing that upsets me the most. Like, for people that can have access to a PlayStation account, it doesn't cost anything to have a PSN account, right?
You still shouldn't have to.
I
Because,
agree.
especially because you've just proven for 3 months that it actually doesn't do anything. You just want to collect data on users.
Yeah.
That's all this is. This has nothing to do with safety. It's outrageous to expect anybody to believe that.
Exactly.
But it's just, yeah, it is. You're right. It is unbelievably frustrating. At least Steam seems to just be issuing full refunds no matter how much time you put into the game.
Yes, good on
Yeah.
Steam for doing
Yeah.
that, seriously. I mean, let's be honest, they can afford it, and
Mhm.
Right.
they needed to do that in order to save face.
Well, I'm sure they're back charging Sony for it too.
That-
You know,
No. You don't need to say Steam needed to do this to save face.
No, I
This
just
was
mean
not
to
a
look like the good guy,
Yeah.
is what I mean.
They don't need to look like the good guy. They are the good guy.
Well,
There's somebody else that is determined to stop them.
they're not publicly traded, so they're almost automatically the good guy. I'm saying they don't have anyone to answer to. They can just be good guys.
Right. They don't have to, answer to shareholders
Yeah.
and stuff like that. They
Trade.
can
I
just
did have a question though. If you don't have a PlayStation and you're playing this on Steam, are you able to make a PSN account without having a PlayStation?
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. Just
But
clarifying.
But again, why would you before this? Right?
And
Like,
that's like why would you have a PSN account if you don't have a PlayStation?
right. But to me, I understand like the data and all that kind of stuff is bad, but the people that are going to have to do that have access to PlayStation Network that are upset about this, I feel a little less sorry for, because to me that falls in the same camp of people that refuse to open a different browser to play their PC games.
Right.
Like you might have to click a different icon to play
Alan Wake
on
2.
the Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Like
is nonsense. That is utter nonsense.
So I'm more upset for the people that are in countries that like it's literally illegal for them to have a PlayStation Network account.
So
You
then
know what I
they
mean?
just can't play the game.
They can't play the game. They just can't.
I feel like they
And
should at least be refunded.
they should
They
be
are.
automatically
But
refunded.
knowing things probably won't be.
It shouldn't be a thing where you have to request it. It should just automatically be refunded, and you still have access to the game.
130 countries, by the way.
Yeah, that's not just a
quite a
couple.
bit.
That is
Yeah.
a lot. This thing's got lawsuit written all over it.
I'm willing to bet we're probably going to see a lawsuit.
But I wonder, because they had the disclaimer on the Steam page, I feel like that automatically doesn't that kind of make it so that you couldn't win a lawsuit against them, because like they did notify you.
But you have
Against
precedence.
Steam.
Like,
I mean,
you have precedence. You allowed this to go on for how many months?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're like, now no.
Yeah,
By the way,
I'm not saying it's clearly the wrong thing to do. I just don't know if it's illegal or it could be sued over. That's all I'm saying. Because the warning is there.
by the way, you said months, right?
Yeah.
This game's been out, what, 2-3 months?
3 months, yeah.
This is not like a game that like, it's 2-3 years old, and there's still some people playing it. This is still a fresh game.
Yeah. And it's just dumb business. Like this game
Seriously.
had endless goodwill. The rare video game that launched and people are like celebrating it. No one's
Yeah.
even mad about microtransactions in this game because they're reasonably
Exactly.
priced and the game is so fun to play and they're so nice to their community. I mean, dude, this is just yet another boneheaded move by PlayStation.
And I feel bad for Arrowhead, because if this is not their decision and they're just as upset as we are by this, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand the situation here, and they're just going to hate the developer. Look what they're doing to the reviews. Like, that is not affecting Sony at all when you post a negative review or review bomb this thing on Steam.
Right.
It's not affecting them at all. All that affects is Arrowhead.
Honestly, I would really love to see like Nintendo. Like, I don't know if this has the ability to run on a Switch, But if like Nintendo and Microsoft just swooped in and said, you know what, put it on our systems.
Well, they can't.
Yeah,
Why?
The property is owned by PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I mean, it's game over.
so PlayStation owns Arrowhead.
PlayStation owns Helldivers.
Fine, make Helldivers 3.
You can't. PlayStation owns Helldivers.
Fine, make a new game
Yes.
in the style of Helldivers.
Fair enough.
Heaven Swimmers.
Yeah.
Just make a parody game and put it on the other systems. Be like, no, you can't have this one. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated by this whole thing because, again, like you say, like you have a company that was allowing things like allowing this to be sold, allowing this to be played, and then 3 months in, like screw you guys, like go pound sand.
Right.
I just
And it's all, I mean, also like think about if you're a PlayStation user, right? These people on PC have a PSN account where they don't have to pay to play online, and you do.
right.
That sucks. I mean, it's just a bad move all around, man.
Yeah, everything about this just like and to be perfectly honest, if Microsoft pulled the same stunt, I would be just as pissed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's sad that I feel like we have to say that all the time because, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of podcasts are very Sony fanboys. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are very Nintendo fanboys. Podcasts that are Microsoft, and I don't want to be a part of any of that. I think console wars are dumb. It does not matter who the company is that made this decision. It is really, really dumb. The fact
Yeah.
that you are selling a product to somebody that they potentially cannot use within 3 months of it releasing. I'm sorry. It does not matter. You could you got your $40 worth out of that in that 3 months. You put 300 hours in. I don't care. When I pay $40 for something, I expect to be able to play it whenever I want to. You know, if it's 5-6 years down the road and they pull the servers, that's one thing.
Mhm.
3 months
And it's
is
such a
ridiculous.
stupid reason. There is
For
no
a
reason.
stupid reason.
Not just 3 months, but 3 months of like one of the biggest games on the market right now.
That's all
Right.
that's been on TikTok
Dude,
for like the
it is-
past
Yeah.
month.
So
Did you-
popular.
Did you see Circana, formerly the MPD, put out, they're analyzing industry, obviously. This is PlayStation's 7th highest grossing published game ever.
What did they think was going to happen?
And then to just shoot the goodwill in the foot like that makes no sense.
Yeah. Here's the problem though. You're going to have the hardcore fanboys who are going to be like, well, it's for the best thing for us.
Yeah, it's like people that support their politician. They can do no wrong. You know?
It's just not politics. Like anybody, like support anything.
Yeah.
Like blind faith in something is stupid.
I could not wait to talk about this when this news dropped because I kept reading it and reading it. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real.
Just so everybody
Mhm.
knows, I'm also mad at Microsoft right now over the James Bond collection thing.
Oh yeah, I got mine refunded too. They had a pricing error on their website where they were selling every James Bond movie for $5, not $5 each.
Right, the collection.
The entire
Yeah.
25 collection for $5, and I scooped that thing up because I was like,
And
I'm not watching the other ones.
they corrected the pricing error like 30 minutes after you sent me the message because I bought it too. And it wasn't like, oops, our bad. It's like, nope, we're going to force refund this.
Yep.
You don't have a choice.
This really doesn't
Mhm.
sound anywhere near as bad to me.
No, it's not. That is
It's not, but I'm still mad about it. I'm more mad about the Helldiver situation. But yes, I do get mad at Microsoft as well because sometimes they do make bonehead moves.
It's a surprising error. Anyway, yeah, it sucks. I don't know what else to say. I don't.
But
I mean, who was in charge of these companies? It just proves time and time again that I think the average, any one of us feels like it would be a better position shot caller than these boneheads at the top. Anybody who's in touch with reality would know that this is a dumb move.
Do they not realize that PlayStation Network is not available everywhere?
I just don't think they
no
care,
way you
right?
don't know that.
I think
Yeah.
for them, the data they're going to collect is more valuable than making those 130 countries with the customers angry.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I
How is that
agree.
data?
I don't know. That's
worth-
but that's the only thing I can think of, right? What other reason is there? Other than now you can bump up your how many place PSN accounts you have in your next shareholder meeting. Like, hey,
Again,
we've
if
had
you don't
30
have the
million people join PSN. It's pretty crazy.
well, and to their point, to kind of back up the point you made a second ago, or maybe CB made it, I can't remember. It doesn't matter what you do; you're still going to have your loyal followers that are going to say this company can do no wrong, and they're not going to lose those fans over one game. I
Right.
mean,
And bumping up your PSN numbers for again people that don't have to pay for it on PC does that's the part that's going to blow my mind. Is I'm willing to bet there's going to be some disconnect where they're like, oh, PC people, guess what, we don't care, like you don't have to register this. Like the potential lawsuit that's going to come from this is going to be insane. I'm just curious to see how it's going to boil out, but I still feel so bad for Arrowhead because now that all these refunds are going to happen, that's legitimately just scooping money out of Arrowhead's pocket.
that in my opinion, that shouldn't come out of Arrowhead's pocket.
No, it should come out from Sony, but
There's
It shouldn't, like, it shouldn't come out of the pocket, but it's going to, in the fact that like all these refunds are going to happen. Now there's going to be a ton of bad press about this game. There's going to be a bunch of people that aren't going to buy it. So yes, it is literally removing money from their pocket.
oh, I see.
Whether
Future
whether
sales.
they don't have to pay the refunds or not, it's removing money from their pockets. Period.
Why would you shoot your momentum in the foot like this?
I don't know. It was doing so well.
You're on track
Yeah.
to be one of the singing success stories of a modern live service game.
And I don't even play the game. Like
Yeah.
I considered picking it up, but just the cool things I hear about it, like how they're updating it and how they're interacting with their fans on social
Mhm.
media and just like it's just been so much fun. I've not heard a single negative thing about it, and they just killed every ounce of that momentum.
I finally have a PC that can play something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I am not as interested now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you have a PS5, you could still play it, but
Well, yeah,
I
but
do,
you still.
but-
But do you want to support the game that's doing this?
I want to support Arrowhead.
Well, it's
You know
you're
what I
kind
mean?
of in
But,
a
like,
rock and a hard place,
Yeah.
right? Because if you support Arrowhead, that means you're telling Sony that this is good to go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like you said, I would rather play this on PC because then I'm not required to pay for the PSN account.
Right. Because I don't have
Yeah,
a
that's a
PSN
good point,
account
yeah.
either.
That's what I'm saying. Like I have the ability to play it in a way that will play it faster and more efficiently.
Maybe that's their game, Zach, is they want to sell more PSN accounts. Like you were saying, just from a pad your PSN numbers account,
Uh-huh.
yes, you're going to get more people signed up, but there's not paying for it.
Right.
But now the only way that you can play Helldivers is to play it through PlayStation,
But
through a PlayStation account. Maybe they'll, just screw it. I'll go over to my PS5 account and
No.
rebuy the game or pay for the live service over there.
I don't think PC players have that energy in them, man. They won't even go to the next browser, like you said.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
going to PlayStation.
This is any of the PC players, this is going to put a bad enough taste in their mouth. They're going to be like, nope, we'll just move on to the next thing.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it's not like there's not a quadrillion other games out there to play, but this one was just, it was the hot thing this year, this spring.
Right.
Mhm.
And yeah, just started its death knell.
Yeah, man, I definitely wanted to check it out. You know, at some point.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the fence now, like you said, rock and a hard place. What do I do?
Right.
Anyway, Zach. Now that I'm all fired up, dude.
Yeah. I had nothing that's
I-
going to match that energy.
Yeah. So what story would you like to talk about?
I mean, I can't tell you. The other day I woke up and I got this awesome text message from Scott. It was a YouTube link, a brand new Batman Arkham game. I get excited. This is
Oh,
the first
yeah.
thing I see when I wake up. I'm jolted awake. I'm not a morning person. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm hunching over. I'm clicking the YouTube link. I'm seeing the logos come up.
You
Guys,
went from 6 to midnight, like
dude,
immediately.
it was unbelievable.
From that
Yes,
link.
exactly.
I mean,
what
that
I said.
happens
Yes.
often when he gets a text from me.
Yeah. Usually with the pictures he sends me. But but I open the link. Guys, I'm seeing the logos. I'm getting goosebumps. Oh my god, Arkham is back, and then it's a VR game, and immediately
I
the
know.
crushing wave of depression I'm hit with. I lay back down in bed. I'm not moving anywhere. It's unbelievable. The tone, the whip. I've never had such emotional whiplash in 30 seconds like that before.
Yeah.
You weren't the only one, Zach.
I mean, this sucks. You know, I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great. Batman Arkham Survivor. Shout out to Camouflage. I know they've done VR games before. I know they did Iron Man VR. They know what they're doing. I'm sure this will be a quality game, but unbelievable. Why would you bring
But
back the Arkham name for this? Why couldn't you just call it Batman Survivor?
yeah,
Why do you need
Yeah.
to resurrect the name? It's ridiculous. It's like when they made that Left Alive game that I'm sure nobody here remembers. Left Alive, but it was set in the Front Mission universe, but it was a stealth game. And I'm like, why would you resurrect this IP to do what nobody wants with it?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense. It sucks.
Yeah.
I-
Don't get me
I
wrong.
remember
That Batman VR game on PlayStation VR was
It's good.
fun,
Yes, it was.
but it was not Batman Arkham.
Yeah, and I'm sure this will be fun too, but unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I got the same text message. I see it and I'm like, oh crap, we're finally getting like that game that was teased a while ago.
Yeah, it was like Damian Wayne, or I thought I was going to get that Damian Wayne game. Remember that they had that leaked a few years
Mhm.
ago? That was like post-apocalyptic that got canceled, or like it was a dystopian Gotham. It was like, oh, Arkham Survivor. It must be that.
Yeah.
It was not.
So
It was
I
not,
saw this
Scott.
and well, see, I saw it and I'm like, all right, awesome. We got a new Arkham game coming because I'm excited for it too. And then I'm like, okay, so this is VR, and then it's like MetaQuest 3 only. I'm like, I'm not buying another MetaQuest. I'm not upgrading again
Yeah.
just to play this.
This sucks.
It
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know, like, and Facebook is losing so much money on VR, billions every quarter. What, like, guys, it might be time to give up.
It's like, why keep making more iterations?
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen, man.
I
I'm
finally
not ready to hang it up yet.
I'm about ready to hang it up because I kind of thought that VR was going to be the future because of how much my students talk about playing VR,
Mm-hmm.
but they just want to do like the like gorilla tag and stuff like that. They
Yeah,
don't
right.
want to play like immersive games. They just want to be with their friends and you know what I mean?
It's funny because AJ, my oldest son, can't stop using his Oculus.
Yeah, it's the kids love it.
Like he adores it. He's on that thing every day, playing all kinds of different. He's playing that sword and sorcery game a lot.
The one where
I
you
didn't
can
know
like choke slam skeletons through tables and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did look pretty fun.
Or if you mod it, you can have lightsabers.
Oh, sure, of course. I'm sure that's every VR sword game has that mod.
It should just be built in automatically. It's not
So
even a mod. It's just an automatic feature in every VR game. Yeah, you can turn a lightsaber on.
Yeah.
But so like again, my new laptop and everything, Steam has an entire VR library that I downloaded the link, linked my Oculus 2 to my VR library for Steam. So I've been browsing through finding stuff on there.
There you go.
So like I'm excited because I'm like, cool, I can actually push beyond what is just in the Meta store.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the trailers, I know I'm sorry I ruined your day, Zach. That was not the intention. I figured it was news you would want to know
It's all right.
regardless of what the actual.
I wasn't fuming all day about it, Scott. Okay.
Well, and the more frustrating part is there wasn't even any gameplay.
yeah.
It was just a teaser, right? It's coming out this year.
I don't really
Like,
I don't really
what
remember right now. The trailers.
He tried to erase it from his mind
Yeah,
afterwards.
I would watch it in such a fury. I can't remember how much gameplay there was.
Oh no, it's going to make him real mad because they're going to continue on with the story of Arkham.
Right. Well, so did Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, and I don't think I missed out there. So.
Yeah.
But speaking of the trailers, though, this Funko Fusion trailer, who wanted this?
This would have been a hot game 5 years ago,
right?
Oh, yeah.
I really just had to stop myself from saying something cruel.
Well,
Because like,
please do.
Nope, because it
please
had
refrain
it had
yourself. I don't want you to say whatever it is.
It had a string of expletives on how I feel about Funko as well.
Says
He
the guy
said-
that's got a stack of them in his room right behind him right now.
You notice there's a lot less than there used to be.
That's true.
Sure.
It doesn't wrap around
Yeah.
the corner anymore.
No, they've been disappearing. They've been getting sold off.
Yeah. I know.
Why do you hate Funko now?
Same thing. Just re-releasing stuff that they're like, we're only making a limited amount of these.
Oh, gotcha.
He really doesn't like
Nope.
other people getting a chance to get things they love.
Well, no, like when you chase something and you're like, cool, I got something that like there's a limited amount of,
Uh-huh.
and like the company's like, we're not going to make any more, and then they just do it anyways.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you for making me waste part of my life tracking this down because you said you weren't going to make any more. That's one of the reasons I love like original Nintendo games. I'm like, cool, you can't make any more. Literally.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that anymore.
But
Not
yeah,
doing that
Funko Feud
anymore.
is weird. I don't
Yeah.
understand the. It's a weird.
I
Also,
don't even know anybody that really chases them anymore.
and is it a?
I
No.
just see them.
Is this game a shooter?
I don't know.
It looked
I
like a
don't
shooter.
know. I mean, it looks like a third-person shooter at times, and
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Dude, but I really do
So-
feel like 5-8 years ago, this would have been like, oh my god, I can't.
Oh,
believe
Oh
it.
do
yeah,
you know
it
what
would
it
have been way
sold like?
bigger.
Yeah.
Gangbusters.
It's just a little bit too
But-
late.
I just see like all the Funkos just keep appearing in like resale stores, like more and more and more,
Mhm.
and less going out the door.
There's
Yeah,
like
we-
an entire aisle of them at Disc Replay.
Oh, and it's more than that. Like there's an aisle and a half now,
yeah,
and then they have all those bins in the back that are just filled with them.
it's just insane to me. Just not.
They're the new Beanie Baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Dark Horse is a comic store. Their retail store doesn't even stock them anymore. They'll order them for you, but they don't put them on the shelves anymore. Even
Why would you
that's-
order them from a third party? Don't you get an upcharge from?
like the same thing as buying it from Target. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, like why? Okay, because you're gonna pay shipping. Like, why wouldn't you just go buy? Oh, I guess if they're not that
No,
one's
we
not
we
available.
have retail locations.
No. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
I'm saying,
Okay.
Dude, I'm saying the store. I'm saying comic shops used to be lined to the gills with Funkos.
Right.
They're not even worth stocking anymore.
Gotcha.
They have stores.
All right.
There's stores you walk in, Scott. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
what that's like.
I was in one today. It was strange times.
Yeah, it was a real throwback for you.
Didn't have to give them my shipping address. It was odd.
Yeah.
Dude, even like ordering fast food anymore is like way different than it is. Like, I use an app now.
Right, or you use a kiosk when you do go inside.
You go inside, you gotta. It's just all crazy.
You're like, I'll use this app and pay a 30% markup
This
for convenience.
I don't know. The apps usually got some pretty good deals on them. The Taco Bell
They
app,
do.
oh, it's unbelievable.
Dude, I paid because it's Cinco de Mayo today.
Uh-huh.
I
Mhm.
paid $5 for 5 tacos. When's the
Wow.
last time you got a taco for $1?
Dude, that's crazy.
Taco
Yeah,
Bell.
they keep
Yes.
ratcheting up those soft taco prices.
Yeah.
They know what the hot sellers are.
Yeah, but we're ordering like a breakfast meal through McDonald's through like
You can't
Uber
go
Eats or
to
anything
McDonald's
It's
anymore,
like-
CB.
No,
Mm-mm.
It's restaurant prices now.
Yeah.
I know, but they're not the only ones. Like, beefaroo. Oof.
Worth every penny.
love-
Okay.
No, it is not worth.
You
You
get what you
penny.
pay.
3 people, $75 is ridiculous.
It's fun. It sounds. I would happily pay it. I usually spend $5 on myself when I go.
All right. Dinner's on Zack next time he's in
I
town.
didn't say I'm buying for anybody. Let's rein it in.
Yeah, that's right. They don't serve steak at Beefaroo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'll ask him to. I'll just bring one in from the store and tell him to fry it up.
You guys got corkage fees here. Just fry this
This
steak.
is all right, guys.
Oh.
Right? BYOS.
All right, so there's one story left for me to talk about. It's a weird one, but I thought it was interesting. So this ESRB rating pops up called Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. And on the ESRB site, it calls it, quote, a collection of 2D challenges and platformer games in which players traverse through various modes, e.g. speedrun survival. This reminds me of, what was that game collection that was on, was it Switch or was it DS? NES Remix?
Yeah,
Remember NES
Mhm.
Remix?
that was DS.
Yeah. So it appears that this would be a brand new game or collection of games and not a remake of the coveted rare cartridge from 1990. If you guys aren't familiar, Nintendo had a world championship thing back in 1990 where they would go out and travel, and they had little competitions where people would compete with this on this cartridge that was designed to start with Super Mario Brothers, and you had to collect a certain number of coins, and then it would just instantly switch over to Rad Racer. You had to complete a race in Rad Racer, and then as soon as you finished the race, it would instantly switch over to a game of Tetris, and you had to reach a certain score in order to, quote, beat the game. And they gave copies of this cartridge to people that won the competition, finalists that were in the finalists, and it's like a super rare, very difficult to find cartridge,
And
and
there was 26 gold ones that were given away through Nintendo Power.
it's crazy. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea of doing that. I never played the NES remix, and I don't know why.
I'm sorry. This thing is gonna piss me off
Why?
because it's gonna be digital only.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
going to be for a limited amount of time.
I still don't understand the limited release of a digital copy of the game.
Yeah, I don't get that
so
either.
Dumb.
But
It's just
but
an evil. It's nothing.
yeah.
That's all it is.
If this gets a physical release, I'll be excited.
Okay.
But if it's digital only, I'm so irritated by that. I hate it.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I was reading this article, and Nintendo only has two first-party titles on the docket for the remainder of the year, and they're both remakes: Thousand Year Door, the Paper Mario sequel, and Luigi's Mansion 2. There's nothing else.
There's a hint there.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder what they're holding off for.
I'm still. I think it would be really bold of them just to release it this Christmas. They're going to announce it this June, and it's going to come out this Christmas. I think that would be pretty smart, actually, because when's the last time Nintendo got ahead of the console race? You know what I mean? Like
they're not in the console race, though.
No, I know, but to get that news out there before a new Xbox or a new PlayStation is officially.
You say they're not in the console race, but they still outsell just about everybody.
No, yeah, of course they do. I'm just saying that they're not racing. They're in their own competition.
Yeah, it's like they're playing in the majors. We're still all stuck in the minors.
They're just trying to beat their last console numbers each time.
Right.
They're just trying to relive that Wii era.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're out there proving people like games more than anything else, you know.
What was the prediction for? Did any of us make predictions about Switch 2 at our?
Yeah, I think you and I did.
You and I did,
I believe. Yeah.
I don't remember what my prediction
and
was.
then CB thought it would be called the Switch.
The Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna have some.
The Wii Switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Took me a second.
The Switch.
Anyway, that is the news. Sorry, I got all fired up about Helldivers, which is weird. I don't have any skin in the game. I don't own the game. I'm not playing the game.
Fired up Helldivers.
Yeah.
But
I guess you just
have no skin in the game, but because of something like this, it makes you further from it, and you're like, I have even less interest in playing it now.
No, I still am interested in playing it. It's just like who am I supporting if I do?
But see, right there, you're less interested in it because you want to support the team.
So you
don't want to support corruption.
What if I bought the game and then just contacted Arrowhead and PayPal'd them an extra $20? Like, can
at that point in time, just PayPal Arrowhead the money. Period.
No, but
he still wants to play the game.
I want to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
we'll just do an ad read for Arrowhead every week.
We're gonna do a GoFundMe for Arrowhead.
Right.
Sorry, PlayStation's treating you like crap.
Man, that's awful. Anyway, that's the news. Want to remind everybody very quickly about our Patreon, because we are an independently funded podcast, and so we got to pay for these all the services on our own, and we do so with the Patreon page, and we give you some extra bonuses if you help contribute each month. $1 tier gets you the episode a day earlier than everybody else. $3 gets you an extra episode, and $5 gets you 2 bonus episodes each month. CB, what is available for people to listen to right now, and what is coming up in the pipeline?
Oh, well, a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth spoiler cast with Scott, Zack, and Brandon Smith, and a Fallout spoiler cast with Scott, myself, and David Newman.
Mm-hmm.
'Twas fun.
That was I was surprised we talked for as long as we did on that, but that was great.
Scott had to cut me off.
I literally did.
It's like, you need to stop talking. We're already over an hour here. Come on. Also upcoming trade-off, Kevin and Scott, Paper Mario for the N64, and Evolution, the World of Sacred Device on Dreamcast. Yes, Scott officially stole one of my Dreamcasts and the game today, so
it only took
he's now on the clock.
It only took a half an hour to piece together that console. I get there and
I'm sorry my basement flooded and everything's in disarray. Douche.
He handed me a controller. He said, "No, this controller is too good for you to use. I need to get you a crappier one."
I lost all of my Dreamcast controllers except my trans blue Hello Kitty one.
Oh, and by the way, Scott, you need to go to Disc Replay and buy your own memory card, because I don't have any of those either.
Well, you could tell where the Dreamcast stuff was sitting.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
So there's that, and also a Break the Seal, the Lone Ranger of Sands of Time,
The Lone Ranger of Sands of Time.
or Sands of Time. I will enunciate every word from now on for the rest of the show, Scott.
We got to get that one done this month, Zach. I'm eager to share my thoughts of Sands of Time, and I'm eager
Oh,
to
and,
hear your thoughts on Lone Ranger.
and potentially a Desert Island Games with Alyssa and myself.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, moderated by Mr. Paul Hine himself, who offered to do that. So we will hopefully have that.
See,
some
game
point in the
one,
near future.
slap Scott in the face. Game two, slap Scott in the face again.
Anyway, if you would like to check out those episodes or any of our past content, again, if you were a new subscriber to Patreon, you've got access to basically 7 years of Patreon content that we've put together over the years right away. So please come join it and enjoy all the bonus content that we've done over the years. Again, the website is patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, what is new on the horizon for people to check out?
The Homeworld franchise makes its grand return with Homeworld 3 on PC May 13th. Build your own fantasy kingdom with Fabledom on PC May 13th. After suffering a short delay, but finally, Braid Anniversary Edition releases to all consoles and PC May 14th. Give Jonathan Blow some money. I don't normally put early access games on here because that's not their full release, but I had to make an exception, just fully letting my bias through for The Rogue Prince of Persia, coming to PC early access on May 14th. Boy, if only I had a Steam Deck. You can watch it. You can have an ancient Japanese legend fight a eldritch god in Musashi versus Cthulhu, coming to all consoles on May 16th.
It just basically looks like One Punch Man, by the way.
It does. Yeah.
Like it looks like a cell phone game, but the concept is hilarious to me.
It's a pretty good concept. Ghosts of Tsushima gets its PC port with a director's cut on May 16th. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes might have the most fun name of the week. It's coming to Switch and PC May 16th. And then Read Only Memories Adventure Puzzler, Read Only Memories Neurodiver, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, and PC May 16th.
I have no idea what that game is.
Even
Alyssa game.
No, I don't even think it's like the trailer makes no sense as to what that game is.
It's all over the place, yeah. CB, what are you excited about on this list here?
Oh, well, since I have this beautiful new PC to play with, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Really?
Dude, that looks like a fun little puzzle game.
I thought it looked. I was impressed by the art style.
Yeah, it had a nice style to it.
I like it.
Yeah,
that game looks fun. But I'm also gonna buy Ghosts of Sushi Nuts.
Are you? Oh, really? You're gonna,
dude, a game like that could like really push a PC.
Yeah.
Plus Kurosawa mode still.
I would be interested in coming over and seeing how that looks.
It's probably going to happen.
Isn't Kurosawa mode just black and white?
Black and white.
Yeah, it is.
I love Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah. Did you know that
the blood is still red, right?
Is that right? It wouldn't be in a Kurosawa film.
No, it's just black and white.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know. I've never played.
If you're including red, then you're Frank Miller.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
And
anyway,
I'm not much like Frank Miller, but I am like Kurosawa because I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai.
It's been 1 week since you tried that joke.
Oh God.
Yeah,
it just gets worse.
There's two of them.
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I've actually been wanting to play that again.
Chinese chicken.
You have a drumstick. Next files when the lights on. Down the bass on. I hope the smoking man's in this one.
Make a timestamp there, Scott.
Why?
We can cut it.
You realize that Bare Naked Ladies did get in trouble for that song because of the line you just said.
I think we're fine. Just have some fun. It's okay. Don't timestamp it. What are you doing?
Scott's the one that's always like, "Oh my God, I said a racial slur."
I said a racial slur?
No.
There's a lot of people that don't like that song because of Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have enough time to get worried about that.
yeah.
I don't either. I love the fucking song. I'm just like,
I'm sure
careful,
dozens
in
of people are
today's-
going to report us.
today's cancel culture, you'd be surprised.
Poor Kevin. He's got a lot of work this episode.
I know, right? Anyway,
Sorry, Kevin.
I am not
What?
writing that timestamp down. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, he
Fine.
just dropped an F-bomb though.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry. Otherwise, you could just bleep the F-bomb.
I didn't even catch the F-bomb.
Oh, well, I guess it's just so natural to hear out of his
All right,
mouth.
I don't
Alyssa, what about you on this
Yes.
list here?
20 not
Any
2064.
Chinese chickens on the list you're curious to check out?
No. I don't want to get in trouble. Read Only Memories Neurodiver does look interesting to me. I did not play the previous game, 2064 Read Only Memories, but I have played Valhalla, which I adored, and apparently they're tied in together.
Oh, okay. I
Hmm.
was wondering why the name
So-
sounded familiar to me.
I do want to play 2064 Read Only Memories at some point and eventually pick up, if I like that, then I'd pick up Neurodiver, but that's the one that really stood out to me the most, but I really don't have any knowledge about what it's about. I just know it's tied into Valhalla, which I adore.
See, I said it. It's an
Yeah.
Alyssa game.
Yeah, you're right, CB.
It's like, I'm vaguely sure that you'd
Yeah.
play the read-only games before.
I haven't yet. I need to rectify that, though. Besides Valhalla.
What about you, Scott?
In terms of new games, the Rogue Prince of Persia, I definitely want to check that out. Although I feel a little guilty because I know you can't play it. I feel bad being the guy that like
it.
is playing like his second Prince of Persia game ever, like telling like one of the biggest fans of the franchise about the game that he can't play.
Just channel your inner CB and just rub it in.
I could, yeah.
fun.
But my second one, I kind of want to go through Braid again, and I would argue that game probably didn't need a remake. I thought the original looked fine, but the trailer kind of sold me on the way they made it, like the remade backgrounds and stuff were actual paintings, like brushstrokes of artwork.
That's
which
cool.
which kind of looks kind of cool. So and I kind of want to relive that story because I don't remember the ending of the story being the way you described it back on several episodes ago. I don't
Oh.
remember it being what it was. So I kind of want to experience that again. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, Braid does look interesting, especially the commentary and the 40 plus extra levels. It's
Mhm.
kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, even though I can't play it, I'm still gonna say Rogue Prince of Persia. It's got Prince of Persia right in the title. I gotta check this game out somehow, some way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Just excited. I'm excited. Prince of Persia is back. You know what I mean? Like two games in a year. It's pretty crazy.
Within 4 months of each other,
Mhm.
Yeah,
or 4 or 5 months of each other.
right. And I feel like this being a roguelike and the team of Dead Cell's heritage involved, I think it has a chance of kind of blowing up a little bit.
I think so too. And the way that the animation goes from cutscene to gameplay seamlessly looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was
as
that
well.
was pretty cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
no doubt.
Alyssa, I would like to
Mhm.
hear your thoughts on Sucker for Love, Date to Die For. What's interesting is that I heard somebody else talking about this game on another podcast, and I'm going to be direct with you, Alyssa. These are not my kind of games. I think you know that. I'm not into dating sims and everything, but the way that this girl explained this on a podcast I listened to, she said they're doing some new and interesting things with this one, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, the thing is, it's not a dating sim
Oh,
at all.
never
Pretty
mind.
much not at all. This is very much a horror. I wouldn't call it, maybe I'd say point and click adventure, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mixture of a visual novel as well. But you're not making decisions about who to date or anything in this game. Like, you're not choosing between different characters. It's very story focused.
Oh.
I loved it. I've already played through it. I've written my review for it. And I loved it even though it did have some technical issues when I played, but that might be my fault. I did play it on my Steam Deck. It's not verified to be played on Steam Deck yet, but it played pretty well. But the basic gist of the story, I don't want to say too much because it is very story driven, is you are a nameless woman who gets a letter from her family and it's concerning. So she goes back to her hometown of Sacramento. And she gets there and it's dark, everything's covered in mist, and it shouldn't be. And she notices everyone has glowing eyes and they're acting really creepy. And she's like, I gotta get the heck out of here. And she goes to her childhood home, realizes that some cultists have taken over her house. And when she goes to her bedroom, she accidentally summons an eldritch goddess named Roxanne. It's spelled RHOK''ZAN.
Do you have to put on a red light?
I mean, to summon her, actually, yes. You have to have red
Oh.
lights coming from red flames coming from candles.
Look at
Wow.
that.
So
all
yeah,
right. Well done.
And Roxanne is the goddess of lust and fertility in this world. She has, I forget how many children. It's in the thousands upon thousands.
Whoa.
And at first, she's like, "Why are you not affected by the Sacramento stare?" Because this all started because of her. She had pure intentions, but things went crazy because everyone was driven insane by lust because of her appearance on the planet. But luckily, your character is asexual, so you don't feel it. You are the only person that can save the world.
Because you have no desire.
Yep, you don't
Interesting.
feel lust. So that's another thing
actually
I was really drawn to with
That's actually
this
a clever
because
turn.
yeah, I love it. And I'm on the A spectrum myself, so like you don't get a lot of representation in games, so I really like that. And even though there is a hint of romance, it's not based on, any kind of sexual attraction or anything. It's very much based on the bond.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not choosing between characters. It is one character you're gonna end up with. And you know from the very beginning. So it's not a dating sim by any means. But I really love the fact that there was an asexual character and that was their strength. Like they're the only person that could save the world because, or pretty much I'm sure there were other people in the universe, but this is the only person that was able to make contact with Roxanne and, figure out that you need to do these occult rituals, which you do in the game. You have to go around your house, pick up ingredients, and then chant a ritual to stop the cult. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, be aware you do have. They're not. I don't think they're actual rituals. I don't think you're actually going to be doing any kind of like magic. But if you're sensitive towards that, be aware that this game does have occult themes.
But if they are actual rituals, it's also educational.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice
I
educational
mean,
game.
I may have summoned some stuff and I don't realize.
Yeah, you may have doomed us all and not even known.
Yeah. But to find the ingredients in your house, I mean, you have to go through your house, and the game has jump scares, which I found out how to avoid the jump scares, but I'm not going to tell you guys how to avoid it if you want to play it, because that's the fun part, is figuring out how you avoid them. But yeah, I mean, you have to open doors, and someone might jump out and game over. You have to restart from the last checkpoint, or you might get chased by someone. So there's always this tension because you're never safe, really, unless you're in your bedroom with Roxanne. And even then, there's one certain point where you're not. But
I'm intrigued now.
yeah, it was. I didn't expect it to be that kind of game, but I loved it for that reason. That it's not a dating sim. It's very much a horror game where you're going around. You have point and click kind of elements. Very story driven. A unique twist on the story. The aesthetic reminded me of anime from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
The visual aesthetic, I love that as well. And there are multiple endings. You do have to get the true ending of every chapter to complete the game, but it's so much fun to play that I actually, even though I got the true endings, went and got the bad endings as well just to see what would happen. Love the game. The only gripes I had were technical issues. I played on Steam Deck again. It's not verified yet. But this is an issue that is on PC as well. They just released a patch for it, but my game froze quite a bit.
Mm.
It freeze for well, I mean it freeze and I'd have to go to the main, click the main menu button, go back, reload a checkpoint. But then my console froze twice completely, just black screen. Couldn't push the Steam home button, wouldn't do anything. Pushed every single button on the Steam Deck, would not do a thing. So I just have to turn the Steam Deck off, turn it back on, reload the game.
Has that gotten better since the patch?
I don't know about that part. And I haven't checked. The patch was just released yesterday or the day before for the freezing issues for in game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about if you play on Steam Deck, you might still come across console freezing. And also, if you're an achievement person, right now they're bugged.
Mm.
I should have gotten 10 out of 11 achievements. There's one achievement that was hard to get. I only got 5 because it just didn't want to register that I did those things. So right, if achievements are something you're concerned about, be aware that they may not pop even if you do what you're supposed to do. At this point, I'm sure they'll patch it. But yeah, I even checked to make sure I did all the criteria to fulfill the achievements, and I had. They're all story related. I'm just like, well, I didn't get the achievements.
Gotcha.
So there are some technical issues, but they have released several patches, so they'll probably end up patching the achievement issue. Hopefully, they'll release another patch that fixes the console freezing. If it's just Steam Deck related, then that's probably my fault for playing on Steam Deck.
Gotcha.
But if you're looking for something different and unique and fun, and something that's not a dating sim, but you think it is, because I thought it would be at first too. I definitely recommend it, and you don't have to have played the previous game in the series. There are connecting characters and themes, but you're fine if you haven't played it. It doesn't matter.
Do I have this developer name right? Because I want to be
Aka
sure.
Baka.
Okay, because I thought that word meant something else.
They actually say it like when the game loads up. It goes Aka Baka.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's correct.
Gotcha. That's the developer. It's published by Dread XP and was provided to us by Evolve PR. Again, that game is Sucker for Love, Date to Die For, and Alyssa is playing it on Steam, so you can check that one out. Got another new game to check out for you guys. Sean stopped by to talk about a new Civilization-style game that sounds really interesting. I'm going to play that for you right now. Well, hello there, Sean Coates. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's episode 500. Can you believe 500
Yeah.
episodes?
Actually, just as right before I got on, I forgot to submit my response, so I just did. So.
I actually saw that. I saw that. So, well, we got lots of episode to catch up on our favorite memories from episode 500. But you're here to talk to us about a game you've been checking out called Imagine Earth, which looks like it's been out for a while, but I'm not sure because I saw a trailer for this for Xbox like 2 years ago. All right, that released like 2 years ago. So is this a new game to? I don't understand. Do you understand what's going on with this one?
No, like every game I seem to get from we seem to get connections for. They're of course always on Steam like 3 years ago, and then they come to console. That seems to be the common thing I'm noticing with all the games I'm reviewing for you.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, this is the first time it's coming to PlayStation. So.
Oh, that's right. You're playing PlayStation. I forgot that you were a new PlayStation owner. So congratulations.
Finally, yeah, I know. Yeah, this will be my first PS5 review.
Oh, nice. Okay, so maybe this is the first time it's coming to PlayStation. Okay, so I watched the trailer, and this seems to be one of those, strategy, civilization building type games. I was definitely getting, if you remember the game Populous from the Super Nintendo era, except instead of you being a god, you seem to be using science to terraform planets for people that are living on it. Am I off base or am I close?
No, you're pretty much spot on. The TLDR description of this game is space civilization.
Space civilization. Okay, that's all you had to tell me.
Pretty much, yeah. So, but the premise of that actually it does have a kind of a story mode. The premise is, in the future we have ravaged Earth to the point of we deplete its resources and environment. I know, right? Who'd have thunk? So of course we have to go and find new planets, and then you, the player, are you're a colony manager working for this intergalactic company called Imagine Earth, Ltd. And you as manager, you have to create new colonies, new profitable colonies for this company. But the objective, or I guess the goal, is to be a self-sustaining colony. Otherwise, we'll just repeat ourselves and destroying that planet too, and so on and so forth. So it's up to you to break the cycle of human intervention and destruction.
Okay. And what really kind of intrigued me about this is unlike most management games like this, it's not how do I describe this? It's not a flat playing field. It
No, it's
feels like
not.
you're actually revolving a globe around and manipulating the environment and causing land to form and creating rivers and things as you're spinning around this globe, which is just kind of a fun way to do it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what not threw me off, but that's what I noticed too is you're basically playing on a globe, like a desk globe, building a
Mhm.
civilization on that. It kind of reminds me, for those listening who are Rick and Morty fans, it reminds me of that episode where they have to take refuge on a planet that's hilariously small.
Okay.
They can walk the circumference in 2 minutes.
I've got to see that
Yeah, so
show. I've
any
tried.
Rick and Morty listeners probably know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
So that's what's interesting about that too. And you're right, you can terraform, you can colonize and build up your city, strip its resources for profit, and you can also trade with other other civilizations, other planets, other species. There are aliens in this.
That's interesting that you're actually like doing the relations, but it's not with anybody on your planet. It's with other planets. So there's like a trade thing going on between you and an alien species.
Yeah, and actually, I haven't encountered this yet, but I have seen that if you touch down on a planet, there's already a civilization or some kind of infrastructure already from another faction or whatever,
Hmm.
and you can either go to war with them, or ally with them, or at least be diplomatic with them.
Hmm.
But I haven't really encountered that too much yet. I'm still kind of on the training planet, which they call Planet Tuto, as in tutorial, right?
Ah, I see.
I get it. So I haven't really gone down too far in this game yet, sadly, because as I've mentioned to you in text, this game has crashed on me a few times.
Oh, how like
And
back to like the
back to the home
PSN
screen,
screen or whatever.
yeah. And I
Oh,
think it's
okay.
because I noticed that every time I spin the globe around too quickly, it freaks out and the frame rate kind of sputters, and it just goes out.
Oh no, is there like a lot going on the screen when that happens, or is it just
No,
random?
I think it's just I guess I'm just spinning it too fast for the game to catch up with me too.
Huh?
Because it doesn't
That's
take much
interesting.
to spin around this thing because of the small sphere you're building on. But
Right.
that seems to be the thing, is if I'm just doing too frantic of an action, it'll freak out and just quit on me.
Well, that's not a good thing. The burning question I know I have when it comes to these types of games, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, is playing with a controller versus playing a mouse and keyboard seems like it would be a lot more work. I mean, I played Civilization on Super Nintendo originally, and I played Super Nintendo, or I played Civ Revolution on Xbox, so I know it's possible. But there just seems to be a lot more moving parts than I'm used to, especially than like something like Civ Rev. So,
Mhm.
how does that translate to using a PS5 controller as opposed to a mouse and keyboard?
Well, just like all the other sim games I reviewed, certain direction buttons will bring up certain portions of the menu. Hit the left on the D-pad, it'll bring up your build selection. Hit right on the D-pad, you'll get your status. If you hit up, there's a whole different. Each button has a menu function, and it if you play enough of these, it just becomes like a second nature language.
So it's almost like when you play a shooter, the same button that is fire and the same button that is jump and reload are all mapped to the same buttons. Those kind of translate over to these simulation style games.
Yeah, pretty much. And since I also don't really have a powerful gaming PC to play this on properly,
Right.
I have to resort to console controls, and at this point, I'm pretty proficient at it.
Nice. That's good to hear. So you recommend people check this one out?
I do. It is more of the strategy side than it is just the building side. I- with the all the kerfuffle and delays of the console release of City Skylines 2. I don't know if you've been
Hmm.
keeping up with what's going on with them.
Mm-mm.
Oh, they had a pretty botched PC launch, Cyberpunk level status. So
Oh,
they had to delay the console release, and I'm still patiently waiting for that. But in the meantime, so I'm trying to find other uh, building sim games to kind of bide my time, but I haven't really found it yet of a pure City Skylines variety.
so you keep chasing that purple dragon, huh?
Exactly. Allegedly, October is when it's supposed to come out for console, but allegedly.
Okay. Well, thanks for checking out Imagine Earth, man. It actually sounds really interesting. I love the spinning globe and actually seeing the planet spin around. That feels like a novel concept that I've not seen before. And I haven't played one of these management games in a long time. So
Yeah, and
that
it does look fun. It does look good, and the fact that you're on a small globe means you have all these different biomes just within like one screen.
yeah.
You got your snow, jungle, temperate climate all in one screen.
Very cool. It was developed and published by Sirius Brothers and was provided to us by Uber Strategist. So shout out to both of those companies for hooking us up with a copy. Sean, as always, it is a pleasure, man. I cannot wait to meet you in person again, hopefully at R2V2 2024.
We'll see. I'm should be saving up for a wedding, but
Gotcha.
yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. Well, thanks again. We'll catch you next time. All right.
Yeah, happy 500.
Thanks, dude. And there you have it. Want to remind everybody about Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to leave us a review, we do appreciate it. Helps the show out greatly. And or whatever you're listening to, drop us a review. Share with your friends. If you like what you're hearing, please tell people about it. We would love to have a much bigger audience than we do. And best way to do that is for friends to tell about it. Also, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our written content as well as each and every episode if you'd like to go that route. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our weekly From the Outside In topic. Can you believe that this is our 500th episode of The Gaming Outsider? It's been almost 10 years since we started this crazy project. It's gone through all kinds of changes, but its heart has remained the same. Friends getting together to talk about one of their favorite hobbies without focusing on the negativity that has plagued the industry and the world in general. So instead of a normal From the Outside In topic, we're going to spend this week reminiscing about what the podcast means to us and our listeners. We'll think back to great memories of the show, the conventions, and the great times with the community. So what to you guys, what does the go mean to you? Why have you decided to stick with me and the community for as long as you have? And thank you for doing that, by the way. But why have you guys taken up the mantle and stuck around as long as you have?
Well, starting off with the baby of the group, I haven't been here as long as you guys have. I've been here, I think, 2.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
it's so long.
It seems like it's been longer though. It doesn't feel like it's
is
only
that a
been
good or
2.5
bad
years.
thing?
It's a good thing.
He's been on here too long.
It feels longer and it feels shorter somehow. It just
Yeah.
feels like it's always
Yeah,
been right.
to me as well. Like it feels like I've been on here forever, but then I'm like 2.5 years. I'm like that seems really short, but I'm also like that's also really long.
Yeah.
But I mean, being a part of the Go, I mean, I never expected to be a part in the first place, and it was a very gradual thing for me because I started off at. I never even thought I'd be writing reviews honestly for the site.
Mhm.
Started off writing reviews just sporadically. Stepped that up. Then Scott was telling me, "Hey, we should get you on the podcast occasionally as a guest." So came on as a guest, and then it was brought up that I could take over when CB had to work. Back when we could only have 3 people on the podcast, and I was fully worried people would think that I was trying to take over CB's spot, like the listeners. Which
I mean, you
guys,
can.
I was not. No, I would never steal CB's spot, but I'm glad people did not, get too angry about that. And then eventually brought on full time, and I gotta thank everyone that put up with me because it does take me a while to warm up and get comfortable fully talking to people. It's the autism. But thank you guys for letting me stick around. And honestly, the Go is the best part of my week. It's the thing I
Aw.
look forward to the most.
Wow, even with me sexually harassing you every week?
Even that, I would only allow you to do that.
Oh. I feel so special.
You guys are only ones allowed. Anyone else is a creep.
Wow.
But
Okay.
no, this is genuinely the highlight of my week. I love everything I do at the Go, whether that's the podcast, reviewing games, writing the reviews. I love making shells for the site, which I promise I'll get faster with that, Scott.
There's no need
Yeah.
to be faster on that. It takes. I just let you know they're there. It's like a good
Yeah.
2 weeks sometimes before we get reviews done, or
That's true.
9
Yeah.
months.
Years. Some still
I even love
pending.
like editing reviews. I don't do it as much as Scott or Zack does, but if I need to edit a review or am asked to, I'd like to do that as well. I love doing everything that I do for the Go, and it's really given me purpose in my life right now, and it's helped me through a lot of tough times. You guys have been with me through a lot that's happened over these last few years, and I don't know if I could have gotten through them as well as I did, which was horribly, by the way, without you guys and your support and the things you did for me. And I've really found some amazing friends, and I don't feel judged by you guys like I have by other people in the past, with my interest or my personality or anything of that nature, which is really refreshing. So to me, the Go is just, I found this amazing group of people that I feel incredibly blessed to have met and have in my life. And I get to do something I love every single week, or I try to. Sometimes I have to skip a week because I don't feel well. And then I'm like, oh no, worst thing ever. But no, this has been a huge thing in my life for me. And I never even thought I would be a part of it. So it's a big gift in my life. And yeah, I'm gonna get sappy. I don't want to cry or anything. So thank you guys for having, letting me be on. Thank you to the listeners who have put up with me. Thank you for enjoying my laugh. I've heard people enjoy it. And thank you for listening to, like, when I get into K-pop or K-dramas, thanks for putting up with that, because I'm sure most of you don't care about it, but thank you for listening anyway.
Hey, you love what you love.
Yeah. But the Go is just, the Go is actually love for me. It's love.
Aw, we love you, Alyssa.
So that was my long-winded explanation.
Well, how the hell are we gonna top that?
I know, right?
You don't have to top it.
Yeah.
CB, follow that,
Well,
man.
I mean, if Alyssa's going to be love, then I have to be hate, apparently.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I
no.
hate you guys. No, I don't ever want to come back.
I do this out of spite. Just pure emotional hatred.
You know what's funny is, CB, when I started thinking about this, I was trying to think back to when I met you. I don't remember when I met you. You and I have been friends for.
I know exactly when I met you.
Well, don't tell me yet, but I'm just saying it's been 7 or 8 years, and I don't remember a time where you weren't my friend, and I don't remember the moment. It's just you just have been there for so long that I can't nail. You're going to tell me, when was that moment?
Oh, it was in the back of that German nightclub outside of Chicago.
Oh, dude, I know the
You were
one.
wearing nothing but spandex and leather.
Oh, my.
Seriously, though, what was it?
It was Nate's basement.
Nate's basement.
Was there also spandex and leather going on there?
I was wondering that as well.
The creepy toilet that didn't have walls, that if you had to go pee, people could watch you.
What the hell's going on in Nate's basement?
It sounds a little sus there.
Oh, this is when he lived over by me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because he didn't have a finished basement, but he had a functional toilet down there, and there was no there's no walls. It was just a toilet in the corner of a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, it was back when we used to go over there and just hang out for our quote unquote vape parties.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Nate, Aaron Hughes, a couple other people. Jordan would show up occasionally.
Okay, I remember that now.
Just but it was a bunch of bros vaping it up.
Well, we all worked at video game stores at the time. Well, around that time, because you were working at TNT with Nate. I used to work at GameWorks with Nate,
mm-hmm.
and so it was basically we just hung out, and
yeah,
it kind of snowballed from there.
I remember that night. I did not remember that was the first time I met you.
Officially, because we both had run in similar circles through gaming.
Yeah, we both knew Nate, obviously, because I worked with Nate, and there was somebody else that we both knew. Anyway, I could not nail it down to a specific one moment. I'm glad you refreshed my memory, because I remember that night. I do remember that night.
Because because I've known Nate for a long time.
Yeah.
Back when he was a wee young lad.
Anyway, so
But
what's made you stick around? You said you were at like what one episode 154?
no, 50. 50 was the first time I was ever on.
So this is
It was you, me, and Chase Christensen talking about Fallout.
oh my goodness, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Holy
saying. Like,
cow.
dude, I've been around a while.
Yeah.
Just,
Which Fallout?
4.
Yeah, it would have been 4.
That was sick. Well,
Yeah,
you guys
so-
probably should have talked about Rise of the Tomb Raider in that episode. It's a better game.
No.
Came out that same day.
But no, like for me, it's always been the Go has always been kind of a creative outlet for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have many of those.
Yeah.
So it's always been something like Scott will openly tell anybody like I'm a guy who comes up with insane ideas sometimes, and I'm like, this is what we're doing.
Oh yeah, like the day he called me up and said, "Hey, September, we're having a video game convention at Cataclysm," and then hung up the phone.
Click. That's literally how R2V2 started.
That's how R2V2 started, and I'm not making that up.
Like, we're doing a video game convention. All right, bye. Click.
And I called him back like right away, and he's just laughing.
I'm like, we're doing this. But no, like I've got to meet a lot of awesome people, like, and that's what I'm always looking forward to is like what comes next. Like what does the future hold? And because of this, like I've always had those like grandiose ideas where I'm like, okay, like what can we push ourselves to? Granted, like during this time of COVID mourning, I guess, whatever. Like it's definitely like I've definitely hit that wall where I'm just trying to break through. Like, okay, what can I like? What can we keep pushing forward? What can we keep striving? And that's like what I'm always trying to look for is how can we make things bigger, better, like keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely always got the brain juices going, and like I always look forward to it every week because I'm like, cool, I get to sit down and like talk with my friends and like do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I would without this I would legitimately just like sit in my basement and just like stare at like I don't know a lot of games, I don't know a lot of movies. Like
I'm just picturing him in his swivel chair in his basement, just slowly spinning around with his sad Hulk music playing in the background. He's
yeah,
like,
the funny thing is you're not wrong. Like why do you think my wife, who hates video games, is so supportive of it? Because she's like, otherwise, like it would legitimately be like I'm doing nothing.
we gotta get this summer. We gotta get back into doing some like retro gaming together.
Dude, I'm telling you all the time. That's why I'm all the time. I'm like, dude, like we got to do something. You got to come over. You got to do something. Because otherwise, legitimately,
Dude, if it's not planned out and on a calendar, it's not gonna happen with me. You know that. It's like if I don't have
the problem is we are opposite ends of the spectrum where
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go, and
Yeah.
you're like, no, we need. I like to plan the days that I can do those kind of things, but I kind of when those days come, it's like, all right, what can we do? What can we get done? I don't like to plan things last minute, like date wise, but I'm always like, when we get to those days, I'm like, yeah, we'll do everything.
Right. So, what about you, Zach?
Well, Lord Commander Clark, I think the Go means positivity to me. It's just kind of a nice, the podcasts, the community, everybody is mostly positive. You know, sometimes you got to rail on PlayStation for making some boneheaded PSN rules. Or
Yeah, now I
whatever,
feel
but,
bad. You're talking about how positive we
uh,
were, and I was like the most negative I've been on this podcast in years today.
It's okay to be negative. The idea is that we all love video games, you know, and you guys all love video games as much as I do, and it's great. And I always wanted a podcast, so it was nice to have this opportunity and such. And but I think more than anything, you know, it's hard to make friends as an adult, or at least it is for me. And I've made so many through here, and it's just I hate to feel, I feel like I'm going to be succinct, but it really is just positivity. It's a positive place. I love being here. It's something I look forward to every week. I love it's, I have friendships with all of you where we, text, even outside of the gaming outsider related stuff, it's just really nice. I don't wish I lived in Rockford, but I do wish I lived closer to you guys, and Alyssa as well, that we could actually hang out, and do stuff. That would be pretty cool. But as it is, I made really great friends because of this podcast. So it means the world to me, I guess.
I still have this pipe dream of the four of us getting together some summer and just renting an Airbnb somewhere like in a common meeting place, bringing TVs and consoles and just sitting around making food and eating, drinking, playing games. Like that
So
just sounds awesome.
you got to choose a place that's just boring, so we don't want to leave.
Yeah, like you don't want to
Yeah.
go somewhere where like you can go see a show or something like that. Like
Yeah.
Topeka, Kansas.
or
Just
I'm not gonna say Topeka, Kansas.
some place that just seems boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry for those of you who live in Topeka, Kansas.
I have a dream of buying some land out here in Oregon, and then it'd be like a bunch of kind of separated cabins that would do different things. So we could have I could have a little gaming cabin. You guys could just come out and stay a couple weeks, in this
Yeah,
fantasy.
damn it.
If everything comes together in life anyway.
The problem is there's a lot of cool stuff to do in Portland, man.
Well, maybe it'll be far enough away from Portland. You're like, it's a little inconvenient.
There you go.
I guess we'll just
yeah.
have to play Streets of Rage or something.
Speaking of, can you promise me that while I'm out there that we will go to next level together?
Well, yes, but only because you've mentioned it every time you talk about coming out here.
I know, but
why wouldn't we go?
I don't know. I
What
don't know
is
why you
stopping
haven't
us?
gone. I don't know why you live there and you're not going there like every other weekend because like
Well, I mean-
that's what I would be doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like a kind of intimidating place. There's a lot going on there.
And they just expanded it.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
maybe I
They
just need
expanded the Galloping Coast too.
need someone to shepherd me through that place. It seems intense. So you can do that
Maybe
in July.
in July.
Yeah.
As for me, I've probably told this on past podcast episodes multiple times, but the reason I wanted to start a podcast, and I mean, just to give you a brief history, we started way before it was the four of us. I started with Chris Owens and Mike Card, who lives out in Portland as well. I was recording in that room right there, in a closet, basically. And we were the official Thread podcast. It was supposed to be a spinoff of the Rotten Tomatoes forums back in the day. And I was listening to podcasts myself all the time. And I was like, man, I just feel like I could do that. And I got so tired of hearing everybody on these podcasts just talking like they didn't like games anymore. Like they just sounded like it was their job and they just didn't like it.
Well, it probably was their job, and they probably were upset at it.
I guess. And
yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying they should be. They should. What a privileged job to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you get to do something that all of us would dream about. And that's what would make me so angry is you guys are getting paid to do this. In the 10 years almost that we've been doing this, we don't get paid. You know what I mean? No, nobody's taking a paycheck at all. And thank you for that, by the way, guys. Your contributions are very much appreciated. But the other part that I wanted to do was to give my hobby purpose. Growing up, I had, a lot of people say that video games were a waste of time, and I got looked down a lot. And the podcast gave me something to do with that. I actually felt a little bit vindicated somewhat recently, like within the past 2 or 3 years. My stepdad actually told me, this is obviously before he passed away this past October, that he actually apologized to me because he was one of the ones that gave me a hard time about gaming when I was a kid. And he said, if I had known that you would be able to do something like this with gaming, I never would have inhibited you or given you a hard time about it as a kid. That kind of made me feel like this is for real. I'm doing it. And that bolstered me even more. And that was about the time we were in the middle of doing R2V2. So that's kind of pushed me towards that. So that's why I did it and why I keep doing it. I don't know why I push myself as much as I do. I mean, honestly, this is basically a part-time job. There's a whole lot more going on with this than just getting on a microphone for a couple hours each week. There is lots of behind the stuff things that we do. Alyssa kind of alluded to our review
Mm-hmm.
process. It's kind of crazy the process that one review goes through. If you think about it,
Oh
like
yeah.
the different hands it goes through to double check, triple check, get it posted, get it sent to our contacts. It's all about massaging those relationships and developing those relationships and trying to keep those doors open for future potential opportunities. And it's a lot. I mean, I seriously probably spend about 20 hours a week. I spend way more time doing the podcast than I do actually playing games. Let's just put it that way. So, but that's why I keep doing it. It's just it gives this hobby purpose for me. I actually struggle thinking back to a time where I sat down and just played games just purely because I enjoyed them, not because I was looking for something to talk about on the show. You know what I mean? Or because I
Yeah.
was writing a review about a game.
Mm-hmm.
That time, that era feels a little bit foreign to me, and I don't know if I miss it or if I like having the purpose. But anyway, I want to talk about some of our favorite memories of working with the Gaming Outsider of the years. What's some of yours? It could be moments from the episodes or anything that we've accomplished. What are favorite moments for you, Zach?
Apologies to listen CB, but I mean the first thing that comes to mind is of course E3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was on my list, and I felt guilty about saying it. I knew I was going to
It's
get
okay.
that
So,
response.
I'm not gonna do what CB's doing.
No, I mean for CB, he was this close to going to E3.
Yeah,
He finally
but-
got accepted.
Yeah.
And then they shut it down the year he got an offer to go. So
Screw
Oh,
you, ESA.
Is that why they shut it down? They heard you were coming?
they heard
Just
CB
so.
was coming.
Guess so.
Yeah, they're intimidated by you, buddy.
Yeah.
E3 is incredible. I've never been to California, and it was nice to fly out there and cover something. And yeah, it was just me and Scott out there, but it really felt like I don't know. It felt like it was fulfilling the fantasy of being a journalist, running around, covering all that stuff and meeting folks and taking notes on my little notepad and
The only person in the entire convention taking notes by hand.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And then rushing back, and barely having time to eat, all that good stuff. It was cool, man. I felt alive in a way I've just never felt since.
That was on my list too, dude. And just how exhausting it was, but good exhausting. Like we'd go back and then we'd sit there and just like recap, just like kneecap to kneecap. Me sitting on my bed, you sitting on your bed with a microphone in between us. Was great. That was so much fun.
Outrageous amounts of Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's like all we ate. People were so mad at us. We went all the way to LA and had Taco Bell.
Watching high-speed chases outside your bedroom.
Yeah,
window.
yeah. There was a high-speed chase that ended right outside our apartment.
Yeah, I wanted to try random places. Okay, you needed a chain, and
the king of chicken fingers.
Taco Bell is the best chain. So,
well, we did try to. Remember, we did try to go out to a non-chain, and that didn't turn out so good.
Yeah, we got to keep trying. Anyway,
we got to keep trying.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, throwing, even though I am very removed from it, the idea that we threw conventions is crazy. Speaking of accomplishments, just think about that. You go to cons all the time, right? You don't really evaluate how much work goes into them, but it is a lot of work, and we did that, guys, twice.
That was pretty cool.
That's a pretty significant accomplishment, and of course, it's hard to remember episode specific memories. Although I do love the Game of the Year episodes every year, a lot to talk about there. But a lot of the favorite memories are just listeners like reaching out, and maybe telling you about what the podcast means to them, or having something to say about what we did on the show or whatever, or even the really weird instances where people like send you fan stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's such a weird feeling. It's weird to have a feeling of people wanting to meet you, but it is quite, it's an honor, right? But it is also what I love about our show is that we never, put ourselves above anybody, if that makes sense. Like we're always, we'll talk to anybody in Discord or something like that. And I just don't feel like a lot of podcasts do that. Not to pat ourselves on the back too much. It's just, it's nice to have our audience, our listeners, they just feel like a part of the community, right? They don't feel like separated. I don't know.
That's always been a big thing for me. That was when I started listening to podcasts, if I ever wrote in and I got my comment read on a podcast, it was the coolest feeling, and I wanted to give that feeling to more people. And that's why when anybody reaches out to me, I don't ignore them. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
with game recommendations or a question, I'm like I mean, you guys know me. I text like a 12-year-old girl. So I say that all the time. It's true. I get a lot of crap for it, but I'm always doing something like that. You know what I mean? I'm rarely. I know I talk about TikTok a lot, but I'm rarely just sitting down and like thumbing through TikTok. I am usually doing something, trying to accomplish something or talking to somebody, and I think that means a lot to people when they get to actually interact with the people that they're listening to each week. So. I don't think we've ever shared this memory from E3, Zach, but
Oh, well, no,
The
you're
camera.
finally gonna tell them about our dirty deeds in that
oh my
LA
god!
hotel room.
So
You
see,
perverts.
this is back before.
I feel like
can't
you could
believe.
almost just leave the story there. What he's saying, the camera, you perverts,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of imagination to run
I mean
wild with that.
we had smartphones at the time, so it's not like we needed a digital camera. But CB loaned us a digital camera, and then we decided to leave him. Nothing of us, to be clear. But
Sure, definitely not.
Prove that wrong, Scott.
Yeah,
we did some Google searching and took pictures of what we found on Google on his camera, just like interspersed in the middle of all the pictures we took, and then just gave him the camera back.
of male anatomy, to be specific.
Yes, and apparently his mom found it.
Yep.
So that was but we never told him. We just like wanted to let it happen. Like, hey, dude, we need these pictures like uploaded to a file or something. And his mom found it before he did. So
was she
man, that was
impressed,
fun.
CB, with the
No.
size or the girth? Or
No, there was a very long, angry conversation.
Oh, that was funny.
yeah,
There was.
seems worth it to me.
I thought it was great. Dude, I still have the video on my phone of when you and I took like a tour of that first apartment we rented our first time to E3.
This outlet that's near the ceiling.
Yep, because
Yeah.
it was like a former barber shop, and
I mean, I still have
like,
that. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and someone took like the picture of you and I and turned it black and white, and then put Straight Outta Compton, like
Yeah,
like
I was
over
gonna
the.
say, I still have that saved on my phone. We're like looking at each other like, ugh, just like bewildered. It's a pretty good
I
image.
need to see this picture.
It's so good.
It was my Facebook profile picture for a while because it was so funny.
Oh,
But
I feel so honored to be
that was a good
in
memory.
your Facebook profile picture.
I'll stalk your Facebook page and find it later.
I mean, I'll
There
just
you
text you the picture. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not,
Or Zach could do that, so I'm not a creepy person.
Oh
Hey.
man, that was it was like a joint kitchen that was shared by like 3 or
Oh
4 other
yeah,
apartments.
the kitchen and the bathroom was shared with like 4 other apartments or Airbnbs. I think apartments. These people seem like they live there.
But it was
Yeah.
never cleaned. It was the most disgusting thing I
It
had
was-
ever seen. There was no light in the bathroom. We had to
Well,
shower
that's
in
why
the
I
dark.
assume they live there, because I feel like it was an Airbnb. You would hope people are cleaning up after themselves, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, there was no light in the bathroom, right? So we had to
Yeah.
shower in the dark before the convention.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was pretty awesome.
And quickly, because there was like this worry that you were holding the bathroom up for somebody else or somebody. 'Cause there was no
Yes,
lock on the door either.
Right.
Oh no.
So we're
Yes.
showering in the middle of some stranger's bathroom, basically, that
Yeah.
some stranger could just randomly walk in. That was, yeah.
Did you
I
notice any holes drilled in the wall?
No, I tried to tell Scott we should shower together to save time, but
Yeah.
he just wouldn't do it.
Oh,
And I kept turning the air conditioner lower and lower,
Yeah.
hoping he would have to cuddle with me, but he kept refusing.
I have never slept so cold in my entire life, and I didn't. I'm in California. I didn't bring a sweatshirt or anything. All I had was dress shirts. I'm literally like wrapped up in a dress shirt on the couch. Anyway,
Look, man, if you had been like, dude, we got to turn this up, we would have turned it up, but you just suffered in silence.
Oh no, it's Scott. He doesn't want to inconvenience.
Yeah,
you. So he'll just sit there like.
I mean, so that is what it is, man.
all
Gotta
All right.
advocate for yourself, Scott.
CB, what about? Or wait, no, Alyssa, you're up. What's your favorite memory of the go?
Well, one of my favorite memories is definitely, well, I mean, the digital E3 was rough. I mean, just the event itself. But I loved every single day getting on and seeing you and CB. Zach couldn't make, I think you were on vacation at the time, Zach. I can't remember.
Maybe there's something going on.
But the specific time I'm thinking of, you guys have mentioned it several times. You were both were you you're I think you were a C.
We're at my basement.
Yeah.
Yep. I know where this is going.
You guys had put helmets on and I logged on after you guys had already logged in, and they're just staring at me with these helmets on as soon as I log in.
Fallout power armor helmets.
Yeah. And I just remember laughing and oh my god.
Well, if I remember correctly, we weren't looking at the camera right away. We were both looking, and then I tapped him on the shoulder or tapped him on the
No,
leg.
you tapped me on the thigh. And we both just deadpan.
Are they wearing helmets?
And they both just very quickly looked straight at the camera to stare at her, just because it was like a whole setup. It was really funny, but that's that was so much fun. But that brings up I miss when we used to cover stuff together on like whenever they would do announcements like at E3, like we would get online and I would be posting in Facebook, on Discord, and on Twitter like every trailer as it dropped. And it was like
definitely hectic, but it was fun.
It was so much fun.
E3 was our sweeps week.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It was so much fun. Just like it was maddening, like trying to keep up. Like it was just insane.
For sure. One of us, one person would find the link on YouTube. I would put the link in the shell with the trailer and do like a small write up.
And then I'd be like,
one person would be watching the trailer. Like like two of us weren't watching trailers really. One person was.
One person. We were all watching the trailers live, but one of us was scouring the internet trying to find the quickest uplink, which was funny because sometimes they'd be like in Portuguese or Spanish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just feeding it to the other two. I'm like, Scott, you're in charge of Discord and Facebook. Alyssa, you've got
someone
the
had
website.
I took the website, Twitter. Then someone else had social media.
Yep.
And the other person was finding the trailer. So really, we weren't actually watching the trailers in full at that time. We were like so busy.
It was just like in the background, or if something came up that we're like, we just stop and like, I gotta watch this.
Yeah.
I miss those. Like if they do directs and stuff this June, can we do that again? That was I miss that.
I'll do it again.
This guy gets to watch me go insane in person.
We could at least just watch them together, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people are. Are there people coming to us for these trailers?
Dude, I'll tell you right now. If like Nintendo or Sony or Xbox, we could live stream it through StreamYard and people could watch our reactions in live time too.
Well, here's my reaction for everything, CB. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's usually mine too, to be honest. I'm just like, oh yeah, nice.
That's the thing is I don't feel like any of us are going to be like ripping off our headphones and jumping up and doing
because none of that stuff is real human behavior. That's people playing it up because they know they're on camera.
No, Scott has watched me do it in person.
For Starfield.
Yeah, like Starfield, yeah, I went nuts. Like I jumped up and I was like pacing the room.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, the only time I did like fall out of my couch and onto my knees when the Nier Automata got announced.
Did you?
Yeah, so that's the only time that really happened because I was like,
you had to pray to the god. It was Yokotaro.
One true day. It was just so unbelievable that I'm like, why would they make a sequel to that? I'm happy they are.
Yeah.
But the first game made about $4.
I don't know, man. The first time I saw gameplay footage of the Final Fantasy VII remake, that was a pretty cool moment for me. Like, because I almost didn't believe it was a reality at that point.
Right. Yeah, it makes. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Is that back when it was CyberConnect 2?
CyberConnect 2.
Remember, because it was a different developer originally. They were going to do it out of house.
I didn't remember that. Seriously?
Yeah.
Do that out of house.
Dude, I don't know why you would. That's insane.
So remember the E3 booth, by the way, when we got to play it?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like
earlier at the factory or the Maker Reactor.
Oh, that was really awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty.
That was the one where we weren't allowed to take pictures inside there, I think. Which is too bad because it looked pretty awesome.
I know I have pictures from outside.
Yeah, outside, but
yeah, I took pictures of the logos inside.
Yeah. Anyway, CB or Alyssa, did you have any more? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I always love the end of the year episodes, the game of the year episodes with Grant. Always
Yeah.
a blast. They're always usually like 3 hours long, but they're just it's fun just to compare each other's lists, have Grant on. He does all these stats, and I'm like, I can do that. That's amazing. Um, I'm terrible at math, so I'm in awe of Grant for going through all the stats for like what games are placed in which order and all that. It's amazing, but it's always so much fun, and it's fun to hear what you guys games are on your list and where they place. And we always like our lists are always usually so completely different, and it's just so much fun to do that episode and just start the year off with that one pretty much.
Yeah, those episodes are very special. I actually had written down on
Yeah.
my notes, though, anytime Grant is on. We did actually get
I mean,
Grant
yes.
on another episode. I think it was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just too cool, and I say that all the time.
He's way
but
cooler than any of us. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, obviously, yeah.
I don't take offense to that because I'm like he's way cooler than I am. So
But yeah, he's a lot of fun.
The way we do it just makes it so fun where we don't know the answer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he does though, and then he asks us to predict what we think will be numbers 1, 2, and 3
Mhm.
Right.
out of I think out of our group.
Was that your brainchild, Scott? The idea of silently submitting our lists and then he does
Yeah.
the numbers? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's a
and then, like,
great idea.
voting, like, 10
Yeah.
through 1, I thought
Yeah.
that was fun, and then it just being because I feel like on shows, you normally you kinda already know what their game of the year is gonna be, just the way they talk about it. It's almost
Mhm.
like they lead
Right.
with it, or it's in the title card of their episode or something, and I like
Or Baldur's Gate 3 wins every other category. You're like, gee, I wonder what's going to be game of the year.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I
It
mean, we've had
produces a
years like that.
It produces a truly unbiased opinion because there's
Mhm.
times where it's like, yes, we all enjoyed this game. Granted, some of us liked another game more,
Mhm.
but as a consensus,
Yeah.
Right, but if a game shows up on all 4 of our lists, it's pretty much gonna make it near the top. You know what I mean? If
Oh,
it
for sure,
appears
yeah.
anywhere on that list, it's gonna make it, so
No, I
that's
do.
the
I
only
mean,
flaw in that to me, but
the way Giant Bomb used to do it back in the day was fun, where they would they would live to tape, record their debates for each category.
Uh-huh.
But that also makes it so like each category is an hour and a half or 2 hour discussion, so that could be a little
Right.
tiring.
Yeah.
Imagine for people, but anyway.
Alright,
We do-
CB, favorite memories?
oh God, where do you want me to start?
Wherever you'd like.
Well, there was this time in a basement where Scott made us watch scenes of Rockstar.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, his presentation. Oh my god,
That was one of the funniest things I've ever experienced in my life because this dude shows up dressed to the nines, just be like, "I'm here for a presentation on the go."
And he's assembled 8 strangers together.
With crickets in the corner.
Literal
Right.
crickets, not like nobody was talking. There was actual crickets in the basement at Chad's place.
And Scott tried to prove to us why Rockstar is like apparently the greatest movie of all
No,
time.
that's not what I was trying to prove.
God, don't you short sell yourself, sir.
It was
because
weird.
every time you're like, Rockstar's such a great movie, man. Like, look at these clips from Rockstar. You could have mixed in any other movie, but it was all Rockstar.
It was one scene.
But you talked about that scene and like so many other points in the movie. Like, yeah,
I
remember
remember it.
Steel Dragon? Like, oh God, the band? It's Rockstar.
I remember being a 59-minute conversation about how cool Rockstar is, and then 1 minute at the end about the Gaming Outsiders. Are you telling me that's
Shut
not
up.
accurate?
That is not what happened.
It's completely true. Zach and I have similar memories. It's clearly true.
There was a point to showing a clip from the movie Rockstar, and when I was trying to sell you guys on joining the team. I guess you were already there, but I was trying to sell the vision of growing the Gaming Outsider and making it something
Rockstar?
bigger. Huh?
Of Rockstar? Mark Wahlberg?
Look, we're gonna sit down for episode 600. We're gonna all sit down and we're gonna watch Rockstar together.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Only if we can immediately watch Big Trouble in Little China right after.
Oh my god,
Not
I
sure
need
the
I
Not sure
need
the
to finish that
connection.
movie sometime.
Because I love that movie and Scott hates it. I try to keep making him watch it, but he won't.
Not to hijack CB's time, but that meeting is funny because that's back when I lived in Chicago, right? So I was only a train right away.
Uh-huh.
But like I had never come to Rockford to visit my family, but I did come to Rockford to have a meeting with a bunch of relative strangers. And I remember my dad was pretty offended by that. But hey,
That's
it's all
funny.
good. You know, I got
So
beef for you. No, it's all worked out.
hey, you know, it works. So I'm gonna run down the list of like a bunch of other ones.
Okay.
Um, that first episode, watching your face when I'm like, hey man, I got us an interview. That very first one, you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I went out and got us an interview. And you're like, who? And I'm like, John St. John. You're like, what? So that's why sometimes I love doing insane things, because watching Scott's reaction is priceless every time. Like just this look of pure confusion and terror
Yeah.
while being excited at the same time.
Yeah. So why'd you hang up the phone when you told me we were doing a video game
Because
convention?
in my mind, I already knew the look on your face. It was literally, what? It's awesome, folks, if you ever get to experience it firsthand. Or doing a radio ad read and then driving around randomly through Rockford, capering the
Oh,
town, and just watching me turn deadpan to Scott, be like,
I wonder if
yeah,
I still have
that's
that
us.
video. The first time we heard the R2V2 commercial on the radio, we had to pull the Jeep over so we could take a video. Oh, that was a cool moment. We were and you're not joking, we were just putting posters up everywhere we could. We walked into every business on the entirety of State Street, like, and just asked if we could put a poster up and would you be a sponsor? And yeah, that was.
Dude, I miss the legwork.
And remember going to Old Chicago for lunch every
Oh,
day, and like
yep.
we got to know the bartender, and she's like, "Hey, how'd it go today?" And man, that was a fun summer. That was a good summer.
Yeah.
How many
We're doing it again.
Yeah.
how many
we're gonna do
dick
it this
tickets
year.
did you guys sell that week?
All of them. All of God. Okay, that brings up another one. Doing the TV interview, walking outside, getting in the car, and looking at Scott, like, do you just realize what you said on TV?
Yeah.
He's like, no, what? And I'm like, you said dick tickets. And
I
he's
would-
like, no, I didn't. And so then waiting until they broadcast at night, getting a call from Scott. He's like, I did say that.
I was supposed
Oh.
to say you can also purchase tickets at Disc Replay,
Yeah.
and what actually came out was you can also purchase dick tickets on live television, and it didn't edit it out because it was just like a foobar. Nate literally made a remix
Yes, yeah, he did.
of that set to the Price is Right music. It was.
I need that song.
I need to. I haven't heard it, so I need to hear
It's,
it.
it's priceless.
I will share it with you later.
That entire summer was just a wild ride.
Yeah, it really was, and it
And
culminated
wanted
in
to
an
happen
awesome event.
and I want it to happen again.
You know
so that like
what's crazy is like that first R2V2. I don't remember much that happened throughout the day. I remember
I do.
little pieces like
somebody robbing
somebody robbing somebody getting their feet taken pictures of while they were playing VR.
I love feet.
And the news showing up. That's about all I remember. That like
I remember Spencer winning the Switch.
Yep, Spencer won a Switch.
Just hanging out with. Well, speaking of which, hang on, I'm going to turn the camera for you.
Oh, this is excellent radio.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some Star Wars toys that you're showing us.
Nope.
Aliens.
Oh, he's
and
got
Star
some of
Wars.
the posters.
No,
Oh, I
the
see.
one that Zack got
Yeah,
made and signed. It's been hanging in my office ever since. It has never been farther from when I record. The little poster that you got made with Sissy, Melissa, and Courtney signing it.
Oh, the black and white one?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
mine's
been
right here too.
It's never been more than 6 feet away from where I record.
Yep. That and the little artwork that we have of each of us as our favorite characters.
Yep. It's right there on the wall next to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But stuff like that. But I love the stupid simple memories too.
Uh-huh.
Like when we'd all get together and be doing a Patreon episode, and like Christina would be there doing her strange little like hawk stance on top of a chair.
Yeah, Christina doesn't sit, she perches.
Right.
Like whether it's on a chair or on the floor, she is always like in a squat position. Like if you've ever seen Death Note, the anime,
yeah.
she's like
you're
Elle
right.
from Death
Yeah.
Note.
Like stuff like that, or just me tormenting Scott with some terribly bad games.
Oh, Dragon's Lair.
Well, not just
Ikaruga.
Dragon's Lair, but Ikaruga, oh god, what was it? Night Trap.
That was actually
Playing-
fun though. I had a
It
good
was
time
fun, but
playing
watching
Night
you be
Trap.
frustrated with it was fun as well. But just like the culmination of like so many of these things, and like just talk like random BS with like Zack, or like pointing out things in like Alyssa's background every week.
Mhm.
Like that's what I love. It's like the fact that we've built this group that we can all talk and have like these strange, quirky memories that like will stick with you forever.
Mhm.
Or when we did the live recording at Arcade Underground.
Oh, that was a blast. You could hear the arcade noises in the background while
Yep.
we're talking. That was good.
Or when Scott would drag me to the Blue Box Cafe to watch a live podcast recording that we did not participate in.
We did once. We did
once, but we did it 3 separate times.
Yeah, we thought we were networking, and it turned out we were not
getting
networking.
taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But just like those, like that's what I always miss. Is I miss, like, I love this.
Mhm.
I love talking with people, like having an opinion and having people listen to it. But also I miss being in person. Like all the stuff that we did before COVID, and then COVID happened and like the world turned to crap.
It just never got back to normal, even though we are normal. But yeah, you're
and
right.
That's what I want. Is I want us to bring that back to where it's like, yeah, man, come hang out, like do some stuff with us.
Mhm.
Because I've always enjoyed the person to person thing. That's why E3 hurts so much.
Yeah.
Is like finally being like that validation, like I get to go do my thing with people, and they're like, haha, no, you can do it over a camera.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing
So
I was
there's-
bummed that CB didn't get to go to E3 because, man, you put CB in a room like that, with that many potential contacts, he's going to come back with some stuff for me. Like I was really looking forward to making that happen, but sadly.
But so yes, there's always, where you talk about the memories that are good, but there's those bad ones too, where it's just like something just didn't quite come to fruition, and it's disappointing. But I'll tag into the next question on that.
Okay. For me, you guys mentioned most of mine, E3, R2V2, anytime Grant is on, but most of my other ones are times when I look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like the trapezoids episode.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When I was trying to say what are they called?
Trapezius.
Trapezius.
And I was like,
The trapezoids.
We're talking about Brock Lesnar for some reason. I don't know why, but that one and the other one that stood out to me, and I don't even remember if this was while your guys' era or before, but for those that have only been listening somewhat recently, we used to actually have a guest on the host every week. Like we would have a guest host that would, like, either from the community or somebody in the games industry that would come and join the conversation. And this one guy we had was a Canadian, and it was totally unintentional. Did not do this on purpose, although it seemed like we did. But we would have the guest read the names of the new releases, like Zack does every week. And I don't remember the names of the games, but there was like 3 games on the list that all had the sound out in them. like Outrun and Fallout. And it was really funny because he read the list before he read it out loud, and he's like, I feel like this was intentional. And I swear to God it wasn't, but it was genuinely hilarious. I wish I could tell you which episode that was, but I remember laughing out loud for a long time about that one, even after we were done recording. So
I'm trying to imagine how stressed you are now, let alone trying to book a different guest every week.
that's part of why we don't do it anymore, is because it
Yeah.
became so stressful to do. Because believe it or not, people that don't podcast every week don't understand what you need in order to produce a quality sound into a microphone.
Mhm.
After doing
Dishes. Dishes.
that was the turning point where we stopped. We literally had a guest that was recording in his kitchen, and his wife was doing the dishes right behind him, and I had to stop and go, dude, we can't do this. I can't do that. And like his wife got mad. I was like, well, I have to do the dishes. Like,
Yeah.
You can't just do them later.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you, ma'am.
One of the
And-
first times we had Spencer on when he was sitting in a closet and there was just like shirts hanging over his face
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
as he's like holding this mic, just like, yes.
But his
I
sound
mean,
was great.
I was gonna say, but that's making an effort, right?
Yeah,
But it was just funny to watch it happen.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying people who don't podcast regularly should know about the sound stuff. It's just
Right. But
yeah.
it became a lot of time just to educate people on, like, you need a good microphone. You need
right.
you have to have headphones, because if you are
Mhm.
coming through your laptop, we're going to hear that in the microphone, and then we're going to have
Yep.
something called bleed. It's those are things that we've been doing it for 10 years. We just take it for granted. But of course, people aren't going to know that if you're not doing this every week, and it just became kind of a nightmare. I thought about going back to that format, but there's 4 of us now, so it makes it a little bit tricky to do that. But so those are my favorite memories. You guys took most of mine, but overall, just the opportunity, the chance just to sit and talk with people that love what I love as much, if not more, than I do, is just a treat. And yeah, CB, I miss the in-person stuff we used to do as much, and I haven't been avoiding you or anything. It's just
Yes, you have. Don't lie
life
to me.
life gets in the way, man. I swear I have something going on. Like, if seriously, you want to do that
Make a trip
stuff,
with me to the mountains. Maybe I want to go.
let's do it. I can go camping. We can actually use a tent, because according to you, that's not real camping if you go to a cabin with no running water or electricity. But
Yeah, no, it's got to have a tent.
anyway, I mean, it's basically a fancier yurt. It's not like, it's not a heated. It's a barely a cabin, man. It's just a bunch of logs put together and some.
That's a cabin.
Yeah.
Logs put together, cabin.
Anyway, so
The ultimate yucker of yums. What did I tell you?
Only for Scott.
only for
Scott.
me, only for me. But
I try to push him to be better.
that, and just the chance to meet some of the people that I've gotten. I mean, Sissy Jones, Courtney Taylor, Melissa Hutchison, Roger Craig
Tom
Smith,
Kalinske.
Tom Kalinske. We got to interview him even before I read the book and really knew who he was. I unfortunately didn't read that book until after we had him as a guest on the show, and I was like, man, I wish I had read this book. I had so many more questions. But what a sweet guy he was. It was an honor to meet him. I didn't get to meet him, but I was this close to meeting Tommy Tallarico at E3 before he got
Got to meet Billy Mitchell.
We did get to meet Billy Mitchell.
I got to
Walter
shake
Day.
Sam Lake's hand.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
That
awesome.
was pretty cool.
that was
Or had
Tim Kits Row.
Warren Spector fix my computer at E3. That was pretty fun.
it was man, so many people. Before you guys, we met Sean Layden in the hallway in the hotel.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
asked if we could take a picture with him. That was kind of rad.
Yeah, I think I remember. I think I remember this because you sent it to Aaron, and then Aaron sent it to me saying, "Who is this guy that they're with?" Because he had no idea. Aaron of the Hollywood Outsider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. So anyway, last question for you guys before we see what the community had to say. What would you like to see us accomplish in the future? Or would you like to see us do differently to help us grow and be more successful? I know CB's probably got a list.
I'm working on what I'm trying to do. Like I want to keep growing R2V2.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Scott already knows, like, because being a game collector, like a convention, like going to conventions is one of my like all-time favorite things to do.
I love going to conventions with you too, man, because you like know everybody and you're knowledgeable about the stuff, and it's just I feel like you're my in to talk to anybody that I want to at conventions.
Oh yeah, Scott. I mean, look at just this last MGC. Like, that was a riot.
Yeah. It was weird walking around and vendors recognizing us. You know what I mean? Like,
and just the positive feedback from not just vendors, but like people that we met one day last year, and they're like, dude, like, we can't wait for you to do it again. And I'm like, yeah, we're working on it, man. Like, I want to keep growing, because like for me, like being a video game collector, like I've been doing this collecting video games for over 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so like having that dream of like finally like I get to do that.
Yeah.
And like being on that side of it and like starting to pull it together and like watching this happen just in like real time. It's an insane thing to watch. Like everybody's like pulling in different directions and pulling things together, and like the fact that like we finally get to have 2020 like R2V2 happen, because for a lot of people that don't know, like after our first R2V2, we had gone to the place that we're going to be holding it this year. We were in the building getting ready to do paperwork when they
Yeah.
shut everything down for COVID. And so like finally getting that dream of like doing something in our community and like making that happen is like, dude, it literally makes me misty.
Yeah. Like when COVID happened and we had to shut it down, I kind of just thought it was going to be done. I really thought like, well, that was a fun trip. We got to do it that one time. So to do it the second time was pretty cool. But uh, the fact that we got contacted by the place that we were going to have it at originally, and they said, we heard about the success and we want you to have it at our place next year. And that we've got the the Rockford Area Convention Bureau that is contacting us and saying, "Hey, when's the next one? We want to help you out." Like it's we got, like you mentioned before, we got a proclamation from the mayor making that week of Rockford's annual retro video game week. Like we have so much going on and so much support of our community, and it's awesome that this is all coming together, and I'm happy that we get to keep doing it.
Oh my god, I just totally just remembered something too.
What's that?
I keep forgetting to hang this up here, but I found a stack of the newspapers from when you and I were on the front page.
Oh yeah.
Not only on the front page, but accidentally giving our entire town the middle finger on the front page of the paper.
There was a sticker on the back of your laptop for what was the game? What was that?
Freedom finger.
Freedom finger, which was a ship that was shaped in a middle finger.
Yeah, so not only did Scott save dick tickets on the air, I gave the entire town on the front page of the paper the middle finger.
You guys are a dangerous combination, huh?
Apparently. Yeah.
We do some dumb things.
Did you have any more to add, CB, or?
No, I want to see that, like, I want to bring that drive back where we just keep pushing ourselves to do bigger and crazier things, because like having that first conversation, you're like, there's no way we can pull this off. I'm like, dude, yes we can. And like, you already know, like one of my big things is I love to see people push themselves to be not only better themselves, but to better the things around it. Because I legitimately think that this podcast and the convention that we put on not only better us, but better the people around us and our community.
Mm-hmm. And
I want to bring that drive back.
Good call. Zach, how about you? Anything you'd like to see us do differently?
Yeah, I know this is gonna sound like a cop out answer, perhaps, but I feel pretty accomplished because when you look, it's 500 episodes, man.
Yeah.
And when like Apple released those stats a few years ago, where it's like 80% of podcasts never get past 10 episodes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And to think about that, and then we've done 500.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. That's so many episodes. And we have this wonderful community, and it's a good thing people like CB are here to always push us ahead, because I'm sure that's what you're supposed to do in life. But like, I really feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like we did it in many ways in a media environment where more and more video game websites are shutting down every day, or podcasts are going away, or groups split up, or what have you. And yet here we are still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it to a level of quality that we appreciate. Like, we put out these written reviews that probably aren't getting a lot of reads, but we still hold it to, a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we're doing everything right. I don't know how to grow with so much competition out there, and just what we do, is kind of a like a weekly kind of news show. Is so hard to, I feel like, get in ears. But I don't know. I feel like we're doing a great job. But I do love, I feel like we've been pretty good maybe in the past year or so, and I would love for us to do more of kind of hooking up with other creators and kind of crossing over, whether like you going on DLC or us going on quest markers,
Mm-hmm.
or us meeting people like Marina at quest markers, or Snug Boy or Diego Rivera, where we kind of have these connections with other creators, and it's kind of this. It's such a warm community that I guess I would like to see us expand more with fellow creators.
That's a good point. I'd like to see us
Mhm.
actually get back to doing game nights with community too somehow. I mean,
Yeah.
I have my group that I play with on Friday nights, but I'd like to. I don't know. Maybe we got to just like figure out a date. We got to get Zack an 8 to 5 first off.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty nice being alive at night.
Yeah,
No, but it does make a lot of life difficult, no doubt.
yeah.
So I don't want to sound like a cop out answer. I really did try to think. I know you wanted us to take these questions seriously,
No,
Mhm.
not at all. I don't take it that way.
but I don't know. I am happy, and I think the show is a big part of that. And I feel like we, in many ways, we did it. And how many podcasts can say, "Hey, we did it"?
Yeah.
You know, we have a community that cares, and we have passionate listeners, and we still love video games. You know, maybe not always the companies that make them, based on the news, but we do love video games, and it's nice for being around for 10 years, as you said, and to have not lost sight of that is something I think is worthy of celebrating.
Well said. Alyssa, how about you?
I'm pretty much in agreement with Zach. I did try to think of stuff, but I'm
Oh, what
not
a
the best
cop
when it
out!
comes to ideas. I know, a cop out. But I am proud of what we've achieved, and I mean, of course, it'd be nice if people, more people read our reviews, or more people listen to the podcast. But I think we have a really great community right now that is really supportive, and they're amazing. Like, you guys listening right now are so amazing, and you're why we're here. Um, of course, I would love to go to R2V2, which it's not going to be possible this year unless I get a sponsor. But one day, I want to go to R2V2. But that's a personal goal. But I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us for what we've achieved, and what you guys especially have achieved, because you were here before me. You really put in the hard work. But I think,
When you
yeah,
say
it would be.
sponsor, do you mean driver? Because we'll send CB down to come get you.
No, I would need I would need transportation and somewhere to stay.
That done.
Because I don't have anyone that's willing to go with me this year. So
Gotcha. We'll
We-
talk.
We
Yeah, I
can
would say,
figure it out.
yeah, that can be figured out
I've-
off the air.
Yeah.
I've done dumber things with less amount of time to prep.
okay.
Well, I do believe that.
But yeah, that's just a personal one. But also like Zach said, I think it'd be cool to do more kind of collabs occasionally. That's also me trying to shill myself out to other podcasts. So if anyone wants to have me on, contact me. No, but I do think it'd be cool if, like, we had more, collabs occasionally. I'm pretty much in agreement with Zach though. Like, I'm really proud of us for what we've done now, and I mean, yeah, 500 episodes. That's a huge milestone. Huge milestone.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm here for it.
I don't know. This is a tough question for me because I don't know how to improve. I feel
Mhm.
like you should always be looking to do better than you were yesterday. I don't know what that answer is. I've started listening to a podcast that Kevin, our producer, recommended to me that talks about growing your podcast, but it is, it's all about doing a podcast for a business, for, running, to support your livelihood.
Yeah.
And I always worry that if you go that way with it, then it becomes a job and not something that you're doing because you enjoy doing it. I'm not saying this to brag to anybody out there, but again, we don't get paid for this. We don't give ourselves any Patreon money, any money that we earn from R2V2. Every penny that we earn goes right back towards the next thing that we're doing through the Gaming Outsider. The closest we get is, letting somebody play a game to review it that then gets turned around and given away to the community. That's the closest we've ever gotten. Okay, I think I bought myself a Mountain Dew once with the company credit card when I was buying a game one time. I'll admit that, okay?
How dare you? A Mountain Dew?
Yeah. So, but like but if if we're doing that without getting paid, it means we must love it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if you're doing something to where it's you have to do it in order to feed your family and all that, then I could see it becoming an issue. I mean, that's why I stopped listening to lots of podcasts back in the day, was because I could tell it was their job and they weren't doing it because they were passionate about it. They were doing it because they had to. So I'm stuck in this spot where I would love to get bigger and grow and do something with it, but I also don't want it to be my job. So,
Mhm.
um, I don't know, but that's my thoughts on it. I like I said, I'd love to get to where I'm able to play with the community more. The problem is that I feel like with as much work as I do with the show, my time to game at all is so limited. Um, that like I get less and less time to play just because I enjoy it, and that's where multiplayer games are games that I play because I enjoy them. And the single player games that I'm playing to review or to have something to talk about. And we have some listeners that actually have some comments about that coming up, but I don't know. I don't know what the happy medium is, and but I'm open to suggestions, and I guess that's something that we'll dive deeper into at a later time.
Less guilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't have the guilt to play codes people send you, even if you didn't ask for them.
Dude, it's so hard when like this,
Yeah.
random little developer that just wants their game to get out there, says here's a copy of my game. Would you please talk about it? It's very difficult. It's not even a guilt thing. It's like, you know, they're asking me to play their game.
Right.
It's not like
Yeah.
to do something that's, you know, gonna set me back or give me a bad day. Um, yeah.
No, I meant less guilt about things in life and be like, oh God, I need to do this. No, man, you do you.
Yeah, I'm seeing a
Enjoy
therapist.
enjoy yourself.
Trying to, man. Trying to. All
I'm gonna put a
right.
shot collar on you.
The last thing I will
Stop.
say before we get to our community topics is just to all three of you, thank you for sticking with the Gaming Outsider for as long as you have. I know that there is a lot of work that goes with this. It's not all fun and games, and often my expectations are higher than they probably should be. But I appreciate all the work that each of you put into it each and every week, and with R2V2 as well, and just making everything happen. You guys are helping me fulfill a lifelong dream of being involved in the video games industry in some way, and I could not do it without all of you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. With that, let's go ahead and see what the community said. We asked them similar questions about why they've stuck with us for so long and what they'd like to see us do differently in the future. Oh, also, I thank you to Kevin. Kevin has taken over the production of the show, and Kevin does so much behind the scenes that you guys don't even see in terms of trying to get us sponsorships and communicating with uh, setting up interviews, and he's doing just a ton of outreach work and things like that. So I really do appreciate that as well.
I'm actually gonna go a little above that. Thank you to anybody who has helped us to get to this point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like, no offense, like I know Kevin does a ton of work, but like anybody from the team, anybody from the community that's helped us, like even like Sean helping run my video game museum during R2V2, or Paul Hine for helping watch the doors there, or just anybody that's had something to do with us reaching this milestone.
mm-hmm.
I want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Sure. Jacob for helping so much of the R2V2 setup, right?
Oh,
Not just R2V2 setup, but just like Jacob is a kindred spirit in the fact that we both have insane ideas and we both push each other to keep going.
mm-hmm.
J- I mean, Jacob's been helping a lot with R2V2 right now, and I mean,
Yeah.
like there's and his wife too.
Yep.
Like there's a lot that's going on, and like for me, like I said, like because this is a community, like it takes a village.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you to everybody.
That's why I don't think I could ever make this my livelihood, because I don't know how I could pay everybody. There's just no way.
Pay me with smiles.
Yeah, I'll pay with exposure.
Oh yeah, what a deal!
No, nobody wants this to be exposed.
To be clear, he pointed at his face, everybody.
Yeah,
Just
his face,
nobody can
yes.
see that. But anyway, okay, let's go to the comments. We'll kick things off over on Facebook. Grant Henry was one of the first ones to respond, and he says, "Awesome. My best GoCast memory is connecting with you for the radio bumper, getting on the show, reveling in the positivity, and then, of course, making music for the show as a result. Every so often, I get a musical idea in my head based on the vibes I get from a crew of people. I did what I felt, and that song is still being used on the pod today. So maybe I wasn't way off. Always a joy to check out The Outsider for the week." Yes, as we've mentioned, Grant does the all the bumpers and the intro music. I believe the word that he used to describe the music that he wrote, the original theme song, he said he wrote that because he thought that we were so upbeat and positive, and he wrote music that to him sounded like the candy Spree tastes like. I don't know if you remember Spree candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, old folks still eat it, Scott.
I haven't had Spree in a long time, thank you very much. But I just thought that was a fun analogy. That was the inspiration for writing the theme song there. So that was cool. Zach, you want to take the next one?
sure. Jesper Hasselholm says, "I have been listening to the podcast since day one. Keep up the good work. I love
Wow.
it. Straight to the point.
Day one. Whew.
He must really like you for some reason."
Again, we're just the gaming outsider.
Oh my God.
He's
It's all
Scott
about-
Clark.
All about Scoot Clerk.
Scoot.
CV.
Sean Coates writes in, "Can't believe I've been listening for 5 years now. Don't know what magic formula you came up with that makes me come back week after week, but I'll say this. No other podcast has made me want to endure an all ramen diet in order to save money for a trip halfway across the country. And no other podcast I listen to have I had Korean barbecue with the hosts."
That was the food we tried in LA.
Yep.
Dead.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
Sean. Can't wait to see you again,
I
man.
want to say we tried
Yeah.
a burger place too, right? Maybe
I don't remember.
a Korean burger place. It doesn't matter. Sean, I didn't know you were killing yourself with ramen to come
I didn't
see
know that
us.
either. I
Yeah,
feel
I
really
don't-
bad now.
I don't know if I hope we were worth it.
Well, because we didn't get to spend that much time with him, because it was like we were running around with our chickens with their heads cut off.
No,
there you
you most definitely were.
go. Yeah.
And then even
Where's Scott? He's gone again.
dude, that was I felt like mothers complain about their kids. And I was like, mom, mommy, mama. I felt like that all day long. It was Scott, get over here, Scott. Oh.
Yeah.
So like when we actually finally got to sit down, I think we sat down with him at Old Chicago after R2V2 was over, and I was just so wiped out, and I think it took a beer and a half before I was not able to drive home. Like it was just so
Wow.
out of it. So
I mean,
sorry,
that's-
Sean. Maybe next time we'll be able to get some more time.
yeah. It was very cool seeing you though, Sean.
And he was so nice. Like he picked us up at the airport when we, when we
you're
flew to
talking
LA.
about, yeah. Took us to World 8-4.
Yeah,
The,
that was
the used game store. That was pretty
Mhm.
cool.
It was right next to the barbecue place, if I remember correctly.
I'm sure that's why he
Throw it.
chose it.
Yeah,
That's where my SNES copy of Hurricanes came from.
I remember that. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Alyssa.
Jumping over to Discord, Drew Ross writes in, "I enjoy the podcast because the Go crew isn't overly negative all the time on everything. Gaming sites, content creators, and social media have become so toxic. They're just out to get more clicks/views. You have these people that are so-called insiders that just make stuff up all the time across the industry.
Is that
Then
where we
so-
got the name?
Because we're outsiders."
That is
Yeah.
the.
No, I know. I was just.
I
That was a
thought you were being
joke.
serious. I was like,
yeah,
really?
I didn't know I was going to trick you. Sorry.
Continuing on, then so many people make it about the console wars all the time between Sony and Microsoft instead of just enjoying gaming no matter what you prefer. Plus, this podcast has pushed me to try games I normally wouldn't have over the years. Because of this, I became a big roguelike fan. I say keep up the good work and don't change for anyone. You're all friends that sit down every week to talk about something we all love and enjoy yourselves while doing it.
Oh, that makes me feel good, Drew. Seriously, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Damn the man. Save the empire.
Honestly, that his mention about like trying games that he never would have, That is why I started listening to gaming podcasts. No, that's not true. I started listening because I realized, hey, there's a way I can listen to people talk about stuff that I love.
Yeah.
But then I continued to listen because I wanted to hear about the games that I was not checking out, that I was not aware of, and I wanted to hear their impressions and see if it was something that I wanted to play. It was fun to hear somebody talk about a game and then go pick up the game for myself and have the similar experience that they did. That is that is the one thing that we could provide that was different from everybody else, was perspective, in my opinion. You know what I mean? We can all talk about the news. It's going to be the same news as everybody else, but our perspective and our feelings uh, are solely our own. And that's kind of the idea behind the podcast to begin with. So thank you, Drew. It's my turn again.
I think so.
Yes.
Jacob Gunderson from our team. He said, I've listened for 5 years. That's 250-ish episodes. I don't think I could give a favorite even if I wanted to. I do like how involved you are with your own community. It's not just people sitting at lofty heights that you would be that would be lucky to talk to you. Lofty heights. I don't know. Like we're not anywhere up
Go
high.
sit in your tower,
Yeah.
Scott.
Shut
Right.
up.
He's saying
There
he's
is-
saying we're not those people. You know, I mean, that's
There is usually a Go member somewhere, including myself. I have been honored to know you guys personally and to help out in, on, and around the show. Weirdly enough, one of the memories I have is actually finding the show. Driving to the office, I turn on the radio, and there were commercials. I was in the intersection of Riverside and Forest Hills, and my only thought was, I have to be a part of this. And that's why we have the bags. He's talking about the canvas bags that we give away at R2V2.
yeah.
He contacted me and asked to be a sponsor for the show, and that's how we met Jacob. The only thing I would change is to let me be level 7. That producer of yours, Kevin Hogginford, yeah, that guy, he gatekeeps levels like some kind of dungeon master. Now he's got to listen to this twice. Love you, Kevin. That's really funny. For those not in the know, Jacob is in our D&D group. Kevin is our DM, and we have been at level 6 for about 2 years now.
Oh my God.
To be fair, we've also had to take extended period breaks because somebody's like, I gotta go to Australia.
Oh yeah, blame it on me
Or-
from one vacation.
Or I gotta go to the Porcupine Mountains.
Yeah, it's all my fault that we're not at level 6. It has
Always your fault.
nothing to
And
do
the-
with our bull charging bard of a wizard that
Hey, don't hate, appreciate.
At this point, it's been so long, it would be weird if he made you guys level 7.
I think that's been his mantra.
Yeah.
No, because he just doesn't want to give more power to the already broken.
True story. Baldur's Gate this morning. I hit level 7, and I was like, "Oh, that's what level 7 feels like." And he's like, "Oh man," it's really funny. So
Never gonna let you live it down, Kevin.
yeah.
Oh man.
All right,
Uh,
Zach, you're up.
Yes, Bill Gardner writes in, I've listened since you, Scott, were on another podcast to listen to. Were you ever on Horrible Gamers?
I don't think I was on Horrible Gamers, but I was on Horribly Awkward
Yeah,
back in the day.
sure. It feels like shortly after is when that crew disbanded and most of the current crew rebooted it. I listened this long because I enjoy the current crew's opinions and joy of the hobby I love. Someday maybe I'll make it to the convention to meet you all. Hopefully I can find a way to meet up with Scott when he's in Portland again too.
Yeah, I actually mentioned on that thread that I'm going to be there in July, so the plan is to hopefully meet up with him there. I will have to get in touch with them.
You got a busy time here. Where you got a lot of friends in Portland, huh?
See?
Well, I do now.
No, this
Yeah.
this is Scott. Like I said, it's just travel. Can't D&D travel.
Yeah. It's your fault, man. You got them trapped at level 6, dude. It's so selfish.
Scott's been gatekeeping us.
Oh my god. I get to see Mike like once every 2 years, and Zack once every 4 years since E3's died. So I get to
Yeah.
do both of those at one time. I'm looking forward to it. All right, CB, you're up.
Oh, here we go. Alan Shack writes in, I still think of the Gaming Outsider as this cool new thing I just discovered a year or two ago, but I need to remind myself that I've been listening to it for longer than my oldest kid has been alive.
Whoa.
So it's probably been about 8 years now.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Dude.
Scott, when you and I first met, I only had one kid.
And he was I see, I don't remember that. I thought Jameson was alive when I don't remember him
Nope.
being, but that's crazy. That's right. She was pregnant when I met you.
No, she was pregnant before. She was pregnant after you met me.
I don't remember that. I remember her
Yeah.
being pregnant with Jameson, though, now that you say that. But anyway, go ahead.
It just hits, going back to Alan's comment, it just hits the right balance in so many areas. It's casual but professional, clean but edgy. Funny but not obnoxiously so. Your personalities blend and clash in all the right ways for a comforting yet entertaining listening experience every week. There's a level of organization and journalistic integrity among your whole crew that is hard to find, even, perhaps especially, in the professional world. And it's crazy to think that you're just doing this on the side. I can't pretend that I know better than you uh, what will improve the show. It feels like you found the secret sauce, but I know personally I wouldn't enjoy it any less if you stopped stressing about reviewing the latest games and spend more time in your backlogs or whatever you want to be. I would happily hear a review about a 20-year-old game if that's what you're playing that week. It's hard to pick a favorite memory. It's just been consistently great. I wish I lived a little bit closer and had just a little more amount of free time. The events you host locally always sound like a lot of fun. I will make it to R2V2 this year. Oh, sweet. So I will make it to dude, I get to take it back by that sometimes.
Yeah.
I will make it to R2V2 this year, so I'm very much looking forward to making that my favorite memory. Thanks, Alan.
Alan's the guy that's bringing his VR game to RTV2.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's great. Well, thank you. That's some compliment. It's been consistently
It
great.
is.
That is that means a lot,
Mhm.
Alan, and
Yeah.
and I hear you. This is the comment I was addressing earlier about less reviews. That is so hard for me to let go because I feel like I'm trying to gain us legitimacy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
You know
Uh-huh.
what? You only need to be legitimate in your own eyes.
then I just don't want to pay for games. I'm cheap.
Well, I know you're
We
cheap.
know.
Yeah. You don't pay any of us. You just told it.
I don't pay myself. That's how cheap I am. No,
Well,
but
you got a Mountain
genuinely,
Dew. I would like.
Yeah, you did pay yourself with Mountain Dew.
I
okay,
would love to have a Mountain Dew,
I
bro.
will buy you a Mountain Dew next time I
But
see you.
I need it to come out of the Gaming Outsider funds. It's principle. It can't just be Scott buying me a Mountain Dew.
I'll buy one on Amazon and just have it shipped to your house. Just
Just a single.
lone.
He's gonna get this
Mountain Dew.
giant box filled with air packets and one Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
That's funny. Alan, though I have been putting a lot of thought into that because I do a lot of energy into the newer games and reviewing newer games. And I've considered stepping back on that a little bit. I just love seeing those numbers rack up and seeing how many games we review at the end of the year and having something to fall back on and be like, look, when I'm trying to pitch another bigger company into hooking us up with a review copy of their game, I just kind of look at all of what we've been doing is proving to them that we are legitimate. And we've had those conversations, Zach, with, we've talked to some developers about stuff like that. So,
Right. Yeah.
I
It
don't know.
still boils down to Scott and his obsession with checklists. He's like, another one done. Check.
Dude, yeah, again, I have a spreadsheet. You know this.
Mhm.
I love that feeling when I get to post on there the link for the review and the link for the episode, and then I move it to the done tab, and then it just makes the numbers pop up, and I get to delete that column off of the pending, and it just feels really good. I love that.
So let me tell you, the past couple of years, I've been allowing myself to go in the backlog a lot more, and I'm quite a bit happier about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of nice.
But then Alyssa's going to have more reviews completed than me.
That's true. Yeah. That's
just-
true.
Yeah, we're
I
having a
just-
competition.
I just can't deal with that.
Can't abide by that.
2025, the year of the past.
Oh, like we've had the year of the bow. We had the year of the
The year of the grappling hook.
the year of the space.
Well, that's just
horror.
every year now, right? Every game's got a grappling
Yeah.
hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway,
Alyssa.
well, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
If companies just keep laying people off, there might not be much of an industry by 2025 anyway.
There you go.
So who knows?
2025, the year of the bag. Wouldn't it be crazy if we just did an entire year where no one was allowed to play a new game? Like
I don't think I could do that.
I don't
That's
think I could
crazy.
do
I
that
don't think I
either.
could
Yeah.
either.
Zach, I've finished my 300th playthrough of Sands of Time.
Yeah, so good.
It took me exactly 45 hours to do that.
For 300 playthroughs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Okay. Thomas Bex writes in, I've listened to the podcast since late 2017. I was a fervent listener of The Hollywood Outsider, and through that group, I got in contact with Scott, and we hit it off very well. It's a fun community, and I got to write reviews and share my love for the adventure game genre with you all until life interfered and I had to take a hiatus from writing. The hosts have great chemistry with each other, and no matter which hosts are present, we are guaranteed a fun show. Scott is almost always very positive about the hobby. Zack brings some left field humor. CB, great knowledge about retro gaming and a lot of enthusiasm. And Alyssa, the very welcome female perspective and K pop vibes. I visited the gang in 2018 and got to spend a lot of time with Scott and CB and other Go-casters, which was a ton of fun. I was a guest on the podcast. I saw CB's immense collection with my own eyes. The guys took me to Wrigley Field on my birthday, and much more. They really made my first visit to the US an extremely memorable one. Hopefully, I can return one day and join in for R2V2 and meet Zack and Alyssa in person as well.
That was a lot
That'd
of
be
fun
cool.
having him here. Yeah,
And I
It would
get
be
to
really
hold it
cool.
over Scott to the fact that I actually traveled to another country and hung out with Thomas.
yeah, you did get to hang out with
Mm.
them. You get to have a couple beers with him. I think it was the first time he's ever eaten nachos out of a helmet.
Yeah.
I remember he was
Oh, America.
I know. He was very perplexed by the size of my refrigerator. He could not believe how massive my refrigerator was when he
You do kind of have a big fridge.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember eating street meat with him in Ireland.
Is that a euphemism?
I don't
No, the guy called it. It was some guy cooking meat,
On
like
the
a street vendor.
I do wish we had that stuff in America, where you're just like walking down the street, just kind of like a market of people, I don't know, yeah, grilling meats or
Dude.
whatever.
Yeah, and served it to us in a Chinese takeout box, but it was just like stew meat. It was
Huh.
delicious.
Nice. Who is up? Is it me?
It's you.
Kevin
Yeah, round it out.
Honigford, our illustrious producer. I've been a fan for a handful of years. I had never listened to a pod before, but was recommended to the Go by an old friend. I personally like the way you try to stay on the positive sides of things, and that I don't have to worry about listening to the show around my nieces and nephews because it's clean. There are just not this episode. Holy cow!
Well, it's a celebration. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are way more than one favorite memory, ranging from Scott hating the second Genesis to a discussion involving trapezoids for some reason, to all the great friendships and friendly trash talk that have developed with the community and members. It's seriously been great. As far as what I'd like to see in the future, we'll start with maybe Scott admitting that he is wrong and that I haven't read this comment beforehand, and that the Sega Genesis was indeed greater than the Super Nintendo. Zack to come to terms with the fact that Shadow just isn't as cool as Sonic, no matter how edgy he attempts to be to make up for it. Chris to learn how to speak at a consistent volume in the microphone.
Can't help it, man.
And Alyssa to please give me something to talk trash about her. She's too damn nice. Being serious, though, I would love to see the community game night make a comeback and become a consistent thing. Those are always an absolute blast whenever I'm available to take part in them. Oh, and for Jacob to not be a dick. That is all.
It came full circle.
Here's to 500 more. I should have read this before.
Nope. I'm
Oh.
sorry, Kevin. I'm an animated person and I move around.
Oh, it's really funny. That's okay. Thank you.
And Shadow is always going to be better than Sonic.
Oh, no.
Remember, wasn't it he was torn when they made like a Shadow t-shirt that just had a really cool design, and he was like,
I'm still mad about it because I bought him the T-shirt and it got refunded.
Oh no.
Oh,
That's too
man.
bad. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening and for sticking around with us for 500 episodes of The Gaming Outsider. It's been an absolute honor to have you guys listen to us for as long as you do, or even if you're brand new. We're so happy that you're here and hope that you enjoy the show. I promise they're not all this long every time. Next week, for episode 501, we don't have a topic yet. So stay tuned to the social media outlets. We will let you know what that topic is going to be. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. As we mentioned, the episode is produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. If you'd like to check out his stuff, you can do so at stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Unless you were trying to sell me SEO optimization, I get it. I don't want to pay money for SEO optimization.
Yeah.
And I am not interested in having you as a guest poster on our website. Stop it.
A guest poster.
But
Wow.
if you'd like to, our address is feedback@thegamingoutsiders.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
Oh man, I don't know. It's so hard on a celebration episode. I started Shogun, one of the best pilots I've seen in
Mhm.
years.
Oh, you're making me want to watch that.
Just an exceptional start.
Dude,
As a fellow Game of Thrones connoisseur, Scott, I think you'd really like Shogun.
Okay. All right.
It is definitely
It just
about
wrapped up, didn't it?
yeah.
yeah. It is definitely more about playing the political game than anything else,
Interesting.
at least so far. So it's good. That's really all.
All right.
Shogun. My socks were knocked off.
Nice. Alyssa, how about you?
I've got two, but they go together. They're both films: Concrete Utopia and Badland Hunters. Concrete Utopia, you currently have to rent on demand. It's not streaming anywhere. And Badland Hunters is on Netflix. It's kind of weird that they're on two separate things, but they are connected. The casts are different, directors are different, the genres are different. They're connected by one single event, which is an earthquake that destroys Seoul, South Korea. And in Concrete Utopia, it takes place immediately after, and there's an apartment building that's left standing. The only apartment building left. Everyone else has fallen. And of course, people want to get into this apartment building. They want the food, the water, but the people that live there want it to be just the residents. And yet, you see how humans react in times of crisis in that movie. It's much more serious. It's much more of a drama. Fantastic movie. Then you go to Badland Hunters, which takes place about, I think, 3 years after Concrete Utopia. And it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And it's got Ma Dong-seok, who goes by the name Don Lee in America. He's a badass. This is very much an action movie that's got sci-fi elements and is so bloody and gory and fun. So, you don't have to watch you don't have to watch both of them, but if you do, you'll see connective tissue. And it's just so fun to go from one genre to another and have two completely different movies, but they're connected by one central event. And yeah, I recommend both of them, but again, they're two different genres, and Badland Hunters is more accessible at the moment.
Okay.
But I recommend both. They're great.
Very cool. CB, how about you?
Ooh, two quick ones. Clarkson's Farm. For those who don't know it, I was a big fan of Top Gear, Grand Tour. Jeremy Clarkson has his other show, Clarkson's Farm, where basically former car show host presenter who's like, I'm going to start a farm. They just released their third season. The show is fascinating. It's on Amazon. Watch it. It is great. Great show. To Zack, Shogun.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so good. I went and bought the original.
Wow.
Oh.
The original is a original TV show or a movie?
It was a TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the Shogun that we're watching is actually a remake.
Oh,
Well,
I did
they're
not know
both
that.
they're both adapted from the same book.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I found the original and I'm gonna start watching that because Shogun is as far as TV shows, it's like it's my TV show, well, mini series of the year already. I can tell you that. There's nothing that's gonna top it.
Wow. Interesting. I got a book recommendation. I finished an audiobook this week. The book is called Nestlings, and the author's name is Nat Cassidy. I will straight up admit that I was recommended this one after listening to another podcast, actually DLC. Their guest recommended this to me, and I bought it immediately after hearing him talk about it. And it's a 13, 14-hour listen. I don't usually listen to a ton of horror outside of like Stephen King, but I found this one really, really interesting, and I quite enjoyed it. It is a young couple that moves into an apartment with their almost 1-year-old daughter, and they don't. Part of the mystery is what tragedy has happened to this family before they moved into the apartment. The wife is in a wheelchair, and some spooky things start happening in the apartment, and that's all I'm going to tell you. I know that's not going to sell you on this, but I will tell you that this book goes some places. I've never read a book that gave me so many trigger warnings at the very beginning before you start. I mean, I think I shared it with you, Zach, last week after we were done recording. There was like 15 different things that they said that there were trigger warnings for this, including, racism and I don't even want to tell you the things that are listed there because it kind of ruins the story. You know what I mean? I almost wish that they didn't put those trigger warnings on there because it girded my loins, as it were, for something that I wish I would have just gone into blindly. So I'm kind of torn on the whole that. But Nestlings, Nat Cassidy, it's got a really interesting. It's one of those books that I feel like, why has this not been made into a movie yet? And part of the answer to that is that it came out last year or this year. It's relatively new, so it hasn't had time. But highly recommend checking it out. It was quite good. So thank you guys for the 500th time or 450th time, Chris, whatever. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much. So until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, Alyssa White, and Chris Behrensmeyer. And we are the Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad thing, just games that aren't for you.